responsibility to uh, effectively help you with your time. But let me just give you a quick brief about what is demo day. So this is one of the concluding period of our cohorts. So whenever the cohort is up to completion, we have a demo day where they showcase to the world what they have built or what have learned in this whole cohort, right? So that's what this is all about. Before I move forward, I know a lot of you would have seen this news that this 2000 rupee note that you see here is now no longer going to be used, and there's a lot of panic. But I can tell you one thing, that you can get a chance to win this, not this note as such, but 2000 rupees with a simple challenge. And I'll reveal that in a while. So be there, and that's a very interesting challenge, to be honest. So I'll explain you going forward. So I want to tell you about how it all started. So this cohort and how the journey has been, so that you guys have some context before we even start this whole session, right? So this cohort is one of the biggest cohort that we have hosted so far. What that means is that we got 446 applications for this cohort. 200 plus interviews that we did, and out of that we chose 36 people. And some of you would be able to see the faces here in the background, and some of you could see them in Zoom right now as well. So what does this mean is that we really want to choose who's going to be the next really great talent out there, right? So that's why we have this stringent process of having an interview and choosing the members who can join the cohort, right? And that's why if you look at the whole acceptance rate, so we only have a 8% acceptance rate. But what I promise you, why we have these stringent criteria, etc., you'll get to witness this today when these guys will be there speaking and talking about the problems they have solved. With that, I want to move to the next session about something about this cohort. So this is cohort number 7, the biggest I said we have hosted so far, the smartest people as well. I have learned and unlearned a lot of things from these people, right? In this whole cohort, we had 20 plus sessions, 6 AMAs. We have hosted Udit as well in those. Did 5 tools masterclass, and the journey has been, it doesn't feel like it's coming to an end, because it just feels like it started very soon, right? It started just a couple of weeks back. But time has passed so fast that, it's very hard to comprehend, to be honest. But yeah, that's the journey. That's what I wanted to give you a glimpse on. I am Rohan, the founder of Unlearn product. And I never thought when I started this, when it didn't had a name as well, that it will become so big, that we'll be able to host people from Vietnam, we'll be able to host people from France, we'll be able to host people from Dubai. But it feels surreal right now. But yeah, that's the journey so far. I think that'll give you a bit of context. With that, what is demo day and what we are trying to do here? For demo day, out of the 36 people, we had 6 teams of 6 members each. We chose the 3 finalists yesterday, and today we'll be choosing the 1 winner out of the all 36 people, the 6 teams. And this is demo day, and we have great people who will be judging these. So we have the panelists here. You might have already known them. So I'll give this whole baton to Vinay first. So Vinay, why don't you introduce yourself? Because I know everyone knows you, but I think if you do that, that'll be great.
Well, thank you so much, Rohan. Brilliant intro yourself, and thanks a lot for having me here. Really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. I'm Vinay. I'm co-founder and CEO of Stage. Stage is building a Netflix for Bharat. The idea is very simple, that we and some of you have worked on our product today. So really, I guess you know what we're doing. But anyways, I'll give you a brief of what we do. The idea is very simple. We realize that you look at all the OTT platforms in India, all of them do language-based content: Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Punjabi, Bangla, Gujarati. That's where the story ends usually for all OTT platforms in the name of regional and vernacular content. I grew up in Haryana, so I grew up speaking Haryanvi, and I was like, why is there no Haryanvi content? And so we discovered that Haryanvi is a dialect and not a language, and so there is no content in it. And digging a little deeper, the insight that we found was that in India, language is an urban concept. The moment you go beyond urban settlements, everybody speaks in dialects. And so if there was a true hyper-local content company to be built for Bharat for the next billion, it has to be a dialect-based content company and not languages. So that's what we're doing. We are currently doing Haryanvi and Rajasthani content with about 400,000 paying subscribers who pay us about 400 rupees a year and so on and so forth. So looking forward to hearing what you all have to say today and learning a lot from each one of you. Thank you so much for having me here again, Rohan.
Awesome. Vinay, just to add on some points to this, you're being very humble. I know a lot of you might already recognize Vinay from Shark Tank, but I know Vinay. I mean, Vinay also doesn't know about this, but when I was in my college, so there was an entrepreneurship cell in Chandigarh University, and he was the guest there, chief guest when he was the CEO of Witty Feed. So I have met him there. He doesn't recall. I don't know he recalls it that or not, but I
Don't,
know
but
him from
I
that
don't,
time.
but now that you have helped me remember that event, I recall going there and meeting a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we have a connection so old. Yeah, so I built a
Uh,
company called Witty Feed also before this, guys. If someone is trying to bring that to your knowledge, yes, we built a company called Witty Feed before this, which was also a content company, and we lost it to Facebook, essentially deplatforming us overnight, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Rohan.
amazing. Now that I look back, so you were called to judge so shitty products and something startups at that time. I feel so sorry for, but I really admire you from that time
College is for
because
silly products. All the silly ideas must be executed during your college time. That's the beauty of that time.
absolutely awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Vinay, for joining in. Handing over now to Udit. Udit, I know you, but the people, let's introduce yourself as well.
Thanks, Rohan, and great job organizing this, man. You've been able to pull up a lot of things together. So great job doing that. Hi everyone, I'm Udit. Right now, I'm doing a lot of things at Blinkit, but mostly spend my time on product. Previous to Blinkit, I was working with Zomato, and I've worked across the board across ops, business, product, and usually love these discussions where we kind of go out of the regular zone of building for matrix and rather than just building truly for customers. So it's a great. I am glad to be here. Thanks, Rohan.
Awesome. Again, the panelists are very humble, I think, today, but a bit of background about Udit as well. Udit is one of the person who has been an intern and now heads product at Zomato and then now at Blinkit. So you can see the journey. You won't find anyone sticking to a company for this long years and growing the ranks this fast. So yeah, that's Udit for you. Pretty humble, but thank you so much, Udit, for joining in again.
Thank you
Moving
for the
on,
kind words,
Mayank.
Rohan.
Thank you. Mayank, over to you.
Amazing. Hey, Rohan. Hey, everyone. Very nice to meet you all. I'm super excited to listen in. So, little bit on me. My name's Mayank. I am the co-founder of Even. I'm very sorry. I was born in Agra, but I moved to the UK when I was 6, which is why I have this annoying British accent. I promise I'm not putting it on after like 2 years of study. I've been there for about 20. I moved back to India at the end of 2018. Ended up co-founding this company called Even. Even is basically an attempt to make what we think could be a better version of health insurance. So how do you create a healthcare provider with the business model of insurance? And I think our big belief is that right now, health insurance is really just about paying for something, a major event that happens, and no real incentive to keep you healthy. And with hospitals, it's not really healthcare, it's sick care. You wait for someone to get ill and then you try and fix them. Our approach is, can you get ahead of the game and actually invest to try and keep them out of the hospital, which means that the patient pays less, the insurer pays less, and we think that's a pretty good way for the healthcare system to run. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I'm incredibly excited to hear all the ideas, both for Even, for Stage, and Blinkit and Zomato. Just very excited to see what we have
Awesome.
today.
Great. A bit of background as well for Mayank. Mayank has been a president at Oxford University, student council, I think. And now, just to give you some insider, Mayank, we also at Unlearn, we bought event plans for all the people, all the team members yesterday
Oh, wow.
itself. So really
Super,
like the
super.
concept, really like what you guys are building. So super pumped to see how you guys build it, right? Over to you, Richa. Great to have you as well.
Thank you, Rohan. So yeah, I mean, I currently lead product at Even. Mayank has given a beautiful introduction on what Even is, but yeah, trying to sort of figure out how do we sort of do the right by customers, ensuring they have the right experience, because anybody who's gone to a hospital and has had to deal with all the insurance and all the things that come along with it is not pleasant. So yeah, we're trying to do that while we make money out of it as well. Prior to this, I'd worked with Udit as well, leading the consumer product side of things at Blinkit. And prior to this, I have like a decent experience in consulting in product strategy across various geographies and various clients.
I think it's going to be a hard time for people to convince Richa today because she has a background of Blinkit, Even, and strategy as well. So whatever you guys suggest, you'll have tough questions for sure. So awesome. Thank you so much, Richa, for that introduction. Cool. So let's get started. I'll give you a brief about how the event is structured. So every team, we have 3 teams presenting today, and every team gets 20 minutes to pitch, and panelists get 20 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes for questions, Q&A round. And based on that, every team will be judged. Panelists will give their score, and at the last, we'll make a decision. So that's the pace of the event. And then the last thing that I said in the start, how do you get 2,000 rupees today? So what I want all of you to do is that whatever you learn today, whatever your takeaways are, right? Whatever you like, what made you curious, if you could write down that in a very detailed LinkedIn post or a Twitter thread with some screenshots, with some references, but be very honest and truthful about it. I don't want you to do it just for the sake of doing it, but be very honest about what you learned and what you liked and what made you curious today, right? And whoever writes the best in terms of quality, not in terms of the likes and comments, we'll give one Amazon 2,000 rupees voucher to them. So that's the challenge for today. So before even starting, I just wanted to know that all of you have a great chance at doing that. Now, over to the first team, Team Even. Let's get started.
Hey, thanks, Rohan. I'll be sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in today, especially on a Sunday morning. I hope we give you a valuable experience today. So I am Pallavi, trying to explore Even with my team here. So to start off, I would want to ask you a question. So can you guys remember when was the last time you visited a doctor? Maybe you can raise your hands and I'll get to know. Yeah, that would be helpful. When was the last time you visited a doctor? Okay, great. I see a couple of hands moving. That's nice. So I would assume that you would have visited a doctor for a fever, cough, or you had a backache or something else, right? Also, you would have ended up paying from your own pocket. Of course, that's not even a question to ask, right? So two things I want to highlight here today is with respect to India is in India, we are generally reactive about healthcare. That is, we visit only when things go wrong, right? And also another one is even with technology advancing so much, we still pay out of our pockets for doctor consultations, tests, which is not in any other developed countries, right? So what if I tell you, you can imagine that all of your medical bills are taken care of. Isn't it a huge relief? I know, all of our bills taken care of. How's that possible, right? I know it sounds odd. That's where Evan enters. So even before we jump into Evan, let's just take a quick pause for a few seconds just to understand few terminologies in medical space, because it's not that easy to understand that, right? So here are few things that will help us grasp what Evan is. So OPD, what does OPD mean? OPD is nothing but general consultations in clinic or with hospital doctors and etc. IPD is when you get admitted for more than 24 hours in a hospital, right? Preventive healthcare, being proactive in detecting your diseases, right? That's what we call preventive healthcare. Cashless healthcare, where a service provider is taking care of medical bills. And what is comprehensive healthcare? Service provider who takes care of end-to-end medical treatment and expenses. I hope I did not overwhelm you with all of these terminologies. Now let's deep dive into what Evan is. So Evan was founded in 2020 and has raised $20 million so far. That's amazing, right? So it's a healthcare provider that offers cashless managed care and also a group insurance for OPD and IPD, unlimited consultations with doctors, even doctors, free diagnostics, and preventive health initiatives. So with our research, we have found that Evan has about $175 million obtainable market space in India, of course, with few assumptions. And it's a great space to be in, right? As part of a competitor analysis, what we have come across is a bit odd of Evan. What I mean by this is, there is no direct competitor for Evan currently, is what we have seen. So there are multiple indirect competitors who are providing services only IPD or only OPD, or they're giving OPD, IPD lab tests and etc. Right? But where Evan stands out is giving that comprehensive end-to-end healthcare service, which is very much missing in India. Basically, Evan, as you see, stands out at the top. So Evan here is trying to gap the white space that is not addressed by insurers or the hospitals. So what do I mean by that? Traditional insurance companies do not help the users with taking care of their overall health, right? Insurances generally kick in when things go wrong. And hospitals, they are generally reactive and not cost optimized. So that's where Evan is trying to make a differentiator. And here are a few facts that will help us understand the impact that Evan is creating to cover up this white space. Few of the statistics are, we see that 63% of health expenditure in India is out of pocket. That's a big number. 62% out of it is on OPD alone. So just by shifting our current focus from treatment to prevention part of it is going to save us 23% cost to be saved. That's a great savings, right? So another thing to add here is, if you see in developed countries, you would have seen that the entire end-to-end healthcare service is taken care by few healthcare companies like Kaiser, Permanente, and those kind of companies, right? And we feel that Evan is trying to replicate the same for India. I'm sure you're all wondering why we are here today. So we are a team of 6 trying to solve 2 problems for Evan. The first one being to increase the activation, leading to increase in user subscription. What we mean here is to get the first value the user can experience. And the second is to increase the B2B revenue by exploring new channels for customer acquisition at India. So let's now see how the users experience Evan, and Prithvi will be taking from here.
Thank you, Pallavi, for setting such context. So coming to the user research bit, So as Pallavi mentioned, what we are trying to do is increase activation. That is how to get more users who come onto the Even platform. How do we get, and not subscribing to it, how do we get more of them to subscribe to Even? So to understand why people are not subscribing to Even, what we needed to do is to talk to them. So we talked to 17 people, 12 of them non-Even users, and primary things were to understand their health and insurance needs and conduct a usability study to understand their actual experience on the Even platform. The second part is we interviewed current existing Even users, and the reason why we interviewed existing Even users is to understand their motivations behind what caused them to purchase the plan. So we have non-Even users and Even users. We additionally interviewed 2 doctors. And the rationale behind that was just to understand the link between preventive health and health outcomes, just to understand so that we can refine our discussion guide for our interviews. So that's overall what we did. So on the basis of all the conversations we have had, what we tried to do is come up with a few personas. So out of that, we just selected one persona to kind of better empathize with a user's journey of purchasing a health cover. So this is Protective Pramod. So Pramod is a 27-year-old. He works as a marketing manager at a company, and his dad recently asked him to purchase a health insurance. So the general goals that Pramod has is to not suffer from some critical illness, stay away from that, and be stress-free about any kind of medical expenditure. But the challenges that Pramod faces is finding that reliable, risk-free insurance provider so that he really doesn't have to care for it. And additionally, because he wants to stay healthy, he wants to go to like a steady doctor who understands him and can like tailor the experience for him. So he needs to have a go-to doctor. So that's the persona. Let's keep Pramod in our minds for a while, and go to what does the journey of purchasing a health cover look like. So there are broadly 4 stages. So discovery, evaluation, finalization, and purchase. What does a user do in discovery? So they want to get an overview in this stage. What are the health cover providers out there? What are the basic offerings, like just a basic hygiene, top level check, and what are the price ranges? So just to get an idea. Once the user gets an idea, they move to the evaluation stage, where they try to kind of compare the offerings of the names that they have received before and do a one-on-one comparison of the offerings. So which plan is offering me the most, and which plan is the best return on my investment. So those are the kind of things they're trying to optimize on or trying to understand. Once that is done, they come to the finalization stage. So they've understood about the offerings, the prices, the good and the bad, but they really want to finalize. But before finalize, they have this second guessing behavior where they want to know, am I taking the right decision? I want it to be reliable. So let me know more about it. Let me know about the experiences of people, and that is what they do. Try to get to understand other people's experiences of using the product they are about to select. And final is purchase. But before making a payment, they also try to understand what the process will look like after they make the payment. Will they get rejected? What does the process look like between making the payment and getting a membership act? So that's the basic user journey. So we remember Pramod from a persona. Let's take Pramod and understand his journey on specifically Even. So Pramod saw a couple of Even ads on Instagram and wanted to explore it as one of the options when the need arose. He goes to the homepage. Right on the homepage, he sees a couple of things like insurance, 24/7 support, cashless. So he sees all these terms and he's like, I thought Even was different. It was offering something different, but just by looking at it, I feel it's what everyone out there is offering. So I don't really understand, but all right, let's explore. So he goes to still check out the offerings for his knowledge, and it broadly looks good, but he has a lot of questions. Even approved facilities, what are those? Specialist consultations, who are specialists and why do I need them? Even doctors, unlimited consultations with even doctors. Who are even doctors? Like, are they good doctors? Like, Pramod doesn't know. But anyway, it looks good to him, so he goes to the next stage, which is like he wants to check the prices. Like he moves it to the evaluation stage that it looks good, broadly looks good. And here what happens is that he gets the same offerings, but he has more detailed questions. So he sees cashless getting repeated a lot of times, and that too in a context that he hasn't seen it before. So cashless specialist consultations, cashless lab tests, how does it work? I've never used cashless for these things before. So, but I also don't know how it works. So can someone tell that to me? Also, some other points. He number of consultations, free consultations, how many? Free free lab tests, how many do I get? And still doesn't know if there's an even facility near him. Finally, he also thinks that okay, they are offering all of this for free and cashless. Do I also need them? I'm fairly young. I'm 27. So like, does it really hold value? But what happens is he immediately gets a call from this even customer rep who explains, who has these answers to the questions, and like he gets all the answers. Next slide. Yeah, he gets all the answers, so he moves it to the finalization stage. That I know sufficiently about it. Let me just, is it reliable? Like, can I really trust them? They're fairly new. I haven't heard about them much, but let me read the reviews. So goes on Quora, Reddit, uh, and he sees the reviews, and he's like, uh, these reviews look negative, and they haven't had a good experience. What are the chances that I will not go through the same things they went through? So there's that friction there. He also goes to ask his friends and family, but realizes no one really has it. So like, unlike other insurers, he doesn't find a lot of help from his friends and family either. But overall, when it comes to making the payment, like assuming he goes to the payment page, he feels that I don't want to go ahead with it. I've seen negative reviews. There are more reliable ones out there, and no one really has used it around me so that I can get an in-depth experience. But even though he doesn't want to make the payment, he realizes that the plan has a lot of benefits. It has a lot of new things. The customer representative told me a lot of things, so I'm interested. But only if, like, I could only decide for myself if I got to use it without making a payment and risking that. So that's what he ends with. And we saw all the problems that this person faced. So I will call upon Pallavi to explain how we went about looking at these problems and framing them.
Hey, thanks, Prithvi. So those were great insights that we actually got from the user research and the user journey, right? So what we did next is we listed out the major problems that the users are facing, which we thought could be the reason for hindering towards the activation process. So the first one being the lack of awareness. What we mean by that is many perceive this as just another insurance provider, and they lack the awareness of the comprehensive healthcare offerings that the Even is giving, right? And also, even being a new player in the market, the trust factor is something people are facing issues with. And the third one being, since it's an annual payment, it's a substantial payment that's been asked for an insurance. There is a bit of a payment resistance without trying a service. They are not very happy with making a payment of such a huge amount. And the fourth one being, recently we have been observed that on multiple social platforms, there have been a little bit of a negative review of the scanner activation process. And that's what we have found from the user research. And most of them are writing bad, and then that's kind of hitting towards reducing the activation process. Last but not the least, the most important one, the lack of clarity. There are a lot of words that's been used on the website, like even doctors. Users are saying that they don't know the credibility of even doctor. Who are these even doctors, and what's the network of hospitals that's covered, OPD, IPD, and then unsure of how to avail the cashless OPD services, and many more of such things, right? So as part of when we did an analysis on impact versus effort, we came up with 5 topmost problems that we thought, if resolved, could increase the activation process. Rakesh would be the right person to now talk about the solutions.
Yeah, thanks, Pallavi. Those are really interesting problems. But to solve them, we looked at something sustainable, and we anchored our solutions around the company's vision that Mayank has already explained. That is to introduce comprehensive healthcare to India and help people to lead a better life. So how are we solving it? By providing more clarity, winning trust of consumers, then offering them experience that helps them to make a purchase decision. Yeah, go to the next one. So the first one is clarity. So everyone thinks like Even is just another insurance provider that offers cashless service for OPD, IPD, and consultation. But to be honest, Even is more than that. Even is providing comprehensive healthcare here. And if you look at the existing landing page, you see the message. Then the next thing we find a CTA button that leads to the plan section. So it ultimately prevents users to go through all the offerings that Even is providing, and it creates a bad experience. So what we are suggesting is rework on the messaging. So we have picked the headline from the recently released ad. A health cover so good, insurance is just an add-on. So that means we are saying like we are not just an insurance provider. So we are much more than that. And we are also pulling up our existing video and putting it up front on the top so that people can get a clear idea like what Even is and how it actually operates. And then we are talking about our services, and we talk about the one missing component, that is wellness, because that is the key USP of Even, and that completes Even's vision, which is by providing comprehensive wellness plans to people to help them lead a better and a healthy life. Yeah, go to next. And to emphasize on like how we are different from traditional health insurance providers, we are on the plan section, we are adding a separate column saying other traditional health insurance providers, and clearly detailing out the offerings. So you can see like how Even Plus is covering all the things, and traditional health insurance is missing a lot. Yeah, go to next one. The second problem was trust. So if you go to Even's Play Store reviews, you'll find a lot of negative reviews about OPD. Like they are saying they have not clearly mentioned anywhere that first you have to go to the doctor, then activate the UPI scanner, and then only you can avail the cashless service. So this creates a bad experience, and it forces them to go to the various platforms and put bad reviews, which ultimately impacts a new user's purchase decision. So that's why we thought like, why not make it more transparent? So we are suggesting a flow that says like truly cashless service, never pay out of your pocket again. And here we are talking about various steps, how a user can avail cashless service. The first is like book consultation, then activate scanner, then upload document, then the rest of the steps follow. And that ultimately leads to how it tells how a user can avail cashless service. Yeah, go to next. And there was some ambiguity around like doctors also. The thing is, the doctor section is far at the bottom side of the landing page, and a user cannot comprehend like what exactly they are, and they can't access their information quite easily. So what we are suggesting is create a simpler flow that talks what they specialize in and how many patients they have treated at Even. So it gives them some trust that these doctors have already treated this many patients, so I can trust them, and I can avail their services. Yeah, go to next. And the next was regarding OPD and IPD network. And while conducting our user interviews, a lot of them said like, we are not able to find who are the prominent partners of Even, though it is there already on the website. It is quite dynamic and people are not able to read it properly. So what we are suggesting, why not put it upfront so that people can have some trust. These are some trusted network partners that operate in India in the healthcare sector. And then we are also adding a message that reassures that our partner facilities are in every 25-kilometer radius. And we are also promising that. And the CTA button can reassure that these facilities are available in their location. Yeah, next. Before this, I want Pallavi to take you through the landing page.
Oh, it's not visible?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah. So if you look at the existing landing page, we are talking about what Even is. Then there is a CTA button. Then there are offerings. Then ultimately, then we are jumping to the even in the price, then plans. Then we are telling what makes us unique. Then again, we are explaining what it even is. Then we are talking about our doctor network and all those things. So it creates a lot of confusion. It is not creating that funnel that allows a user to make a right purchase decision. So what we are suggesting is make a simpler funnel that talks about what we are, how we are ensuring this service, and who are our partners. Go down. What are our numbers? Then what are the other service, our OPD service, and how you can access it, and who are the people trust us. Then ultimately we are talking about the plan. So it builds that funnel that makes a user gives a user the confidence to make the right purchase decision. Yeah. Now before we'll talk about the experiences, and I would invite Subham to take you through this.
Thank you, Rakesh. So before going on to the problem statement and the solution, I would just highlight one single line, that is, we are a price sensitive country. And once we have to pay something, we think, we rethink, and we think again. And that is something which we figured out during the user research part, wherein 8 out of 12 interviewees had a significant amount of hesitation while making payment. This were primarily due to 3 reasons. One being even being a new kid in the market. The second, the offerings of even are extremely unbelievable. And the third part, you have to pay one time, and that is annual payment. So that's, even if it is 800, it multiplies into 12 and becomes a substantial amount. Now, how are we going to solve it? So the very simple solution for this could be trial, wherein we could allow users a 30 days of trial period. And how this would help is that it will decrease the barrier to entry. It will allow them to experience the product. And at the same time, it will also set up their expectations so that they can understand more about how scanner works, more about be more familiar with the teleconsultation part. Now, once we have understood how we are going to solve it, the second part is what we are going to offer here. We are going to offer unlimited teleconsultations and 1 free OPD consultation or a lab test. Let's understand how it will work. The first segment is onboarding, wherein a user simply downloads the application and fills in the member details. At the second step, he selects the plan, wherein the Even Care plan is available for a trial of 30 days. Now, once he has been onboarded using the continue button, the next part is his experience with the product and understanding the product. The next part is, you can see here is the home page, wherein user gets the first button on the top to subscribe, so that at any point, if he's convinced with Even or understands the product better, he can subscribe to it. The second part being that he could share his medical history, that could give a little more context to the doctors, at the same time provide more data to Even. Third part is a book your appointment button that could help users to book an appointment instantaneously and help them realize how teleconsultation is important and helpful for them. Second part is the UPI scanner, which will be active once a user is familiar with, once a user has already consulted a doctor and the doctor allows him to have a free medical checkup or a OPD consultation. In this way, he will be able to experience the scanner activation. The second part is once your subscription plan 30 days trial period ends, what's next? Basically, the user won't be able to book any further appointments, and the subscribe now, he will have to use the subscribe now button to go for a paid plan moving ahead. Now, there could be substantial pitfalls herein, which could be conversion issues as well as the misalignment of the user. So that's about the solution. I would ask Pallavi to chime in and move ahead with the B2B solution.
Thank you so much, Shubham. So far we have been looking at how to solve activation issue for the B2C customers, right? Now let's look into how B2B revenue can be increased for Even by exploring new channels for customer acquisitions. So just a quick background. So Even is already in the space. All the benefits that a B2C customer or a consumer gets is the same benefits that the employees of a business gets, but along with it, they also get a discount on their medicines part, and also the businesses get a very seamless interactive app where they can onboard and deboard their employees on the insurance plan. That's the recap of what Even is already offering. So from this, we can see that Even is already doing pretty good in this segment. That is a small startup space, which is having a size of less than 100 employees. So we could derive that it's their current target market. So during the research into the B2B space, we came across Sona, like entrepreneur Rekha, who was trying to expand her business from from 50 to 100. And the three main pain points that the persona reflects is the cost-effective option, but they want the same benefits for the employees. And also the second being, since it's a small startup, they don't have resources to take care of the insurance related calls. And the third is having a responsive customer experience whenever they need claims and etc. Right? So how Even can solve this? So what we are suggesting is to go deeper in the current target market. So what we mean here is to provide a single common insurance for a group of smaller companies. So what this will result is in reduced premiums per employee. It will reduce the premium charges per employee. So that's how they can probably explore going deeper with respect to smaller markets. And the second persona that we came across is someone who's working in a 500 plus kind of a company, which is mid-size to large size. Their main concern is not the cost-effective part, but making sure they prioritize the comprehensive package that promotes employee well-being and satisfaction, right? So how Even can solve this is by going wider, by expanding the reach to mid and large companies. What we mean is to make inroads with OPD, right? Because when with respect to mid and large companies, they already have tie-ups with renowned insurance companies for IPD, and it's not easy to make inroads with respect to IPD. So make inroads with OPD. The two ways that we are suggesting is probably put up a stall in the company premises, educate the employees, build more visibility, or request for a placeholder for Even as an add-on with the existing insurance so that the employees can experience it and convert. So to sum it up, we can solve the as Even we can solve the going deeper problem or the cost-effective problem by giving a common insurance for the group of companies and going wider by increasing the visibility with respect to OPD. So here are the metrics that we would want to track after we release out these features. Is definitely our North Star metric will be the number of paid subscribers, the number of free users and number of activated users, paid users. That will be our funnel, the focus, and all other parameters or the metrics will be supporting to keep track of the main metrics. So here is a conclusion. So far, to summarize, we have identified 5 problems on the B2C side, and we have suggested 5 solutions for it, which we hope which we are hoping that it will increase the activation and give the experience for the users. And on the B2B side, we have 2 problems and 2 solutions to it. So we would want to end this here. Thank you so much for listening. Hope there were some few good insights derived from this, and kudos to the entire team. Thank you all, great effort. We are open for questions.
Amazing, great. I just felt some nerves in the start, but eventually as soon as Shubham came in, I think it got pretty easy that time. But great job, guys, pretty well done. I'll just open it to the panelists. So let's open with Mayank. You wanna go first?
Yeah. So I think first of all, that was actually amazing. I think you highlighted some problems that we've been thinking about for quite a while, and I really liked the solution on, I think, the Even Care trial piece. One thing that I would just love to ask the teams is, why do you think that we have, at least right now, primarily an annual payment option? We do offer monthly EMIs, but I'd love to understand kind of, what do you think the reason would be for us having annual, particularly with regards to kind of online CAC and performance acquisition, essentially conversion of the funnel? Because I have a follow-up question after that, but I'd love to understand, why do you think we currently offer annual?
Prithvi, you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. We actually try to find the reason because this is something that came up in the solutioning. Why not offer like 1 month plans for the same? And one of the reasons we thought is like the tie-up with the actual insurance. So in this case, Pagma or Digit is a yearly one. Like probably that the terms with those providers is a yearly one, and that's the reason it's out there in the yearly way that it is right now. Of course, with the option of EMIs.
No, I think that's exactly it. Part of it is a legal issue. I'll be frank with you. Yeah, we might be able to try and do interesting, cool things, but maybe where we're working with partners who are a little bit slower moving. But let's say we could solve that problem. Okay. What would you? Let's say we were doing performance campaigns on conversion, and we got a slightly different conversion in terms of annual payments and monthly payments. Can you kind of roughly walk me through kind of the pros and cons of annual versus monthly? Why could monthly ever be worse, right? Do you think conversion has to be better or worse on monthly payments to justify the cap?
So yeah, I'll just try to answer that. So Mayank, I think the reason maybe it's kept annual is maybe because it's not enough to satisfy the claims if it happens, right? If say if it was a 3 months plan and if there was a claim happened, maybe there's a very low chance to recover that, right? So I think maybe that was the reason to go annual. And when we actually researched a bit on the Kenko part, where we saw, because that was our first competitor research, right? And we saw that they had monthly plans, and we wanted to suggest the same as part of solution, saying why not go for 3 months? But we also observed that they don't have insurance on the platform. They only have OPD services, is what we believe from our research. So we kind of understood or concluded saying maybe there are regulatory aspects to it, and another being the claims maybe not being able to satisfy.
No, I think that's really well thought through, and you were totally right. We used to have a 3-month plan. We used to have a monthly plan, and then we saw that retention was terrible. People were buying it because they had a particular test they wanted to get done. We would go and pay for the test, and then they'd be like, "Yeah, cool, thanks, bye." And it made it a little bit harder to make the economics work. But no, I think that was just an overall really good presentation. I'll leave it to Richa as well for some follow-up questions.
Awesome. Richa, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mayank. All right, so I think this was great. I think I liked a lot of your suggestions on the landing page, kind of pretty close to what we've been discussing internally as well, even on the trial piece of it. 2 questions, right? Like when we think about trial, right, you sort of are pushing the users onto the app for like further onboarding and giving them that experience, right? So there are 2 things. One, it could lead to a drop in conversion where you're asking the user to fill in the history and all of that, and in the middle of it, I'll feel like, yeah, whatever, chuck it, I don't want to do it. Second, a trial in a healthcare kind of a setup is very different from, let's say, ordering food online, right? You go to a doctor when you need to speak to a doctor. Or do a test when you need to do a test, right? It's not like something that you would just do one day on a Sunday when you're sitting at home. So how do you think the trial could work for everyone?
I would like to take this up. So basically, there are 2 kinds of scenarios. One is push and one is pull. Mostly, if I mill, then that will be a reactive phase, wherein if I mill, then I'll go to visit a doctor and then I will get my medical test and everything done. The second thing is, even is trying to focus on those people who want to keep them healthy, who don't want to fall ill. And these kind of people would actually try to maintain their health by following a good diet, by reaching out to right set of doctors for regular checkups, or understanding to understand that they are doing well in their health or not. And that is where we can use teleconsultations to have quick follow-ups and basically a one-on-one session where user can familiarize with the doctor. And once the trust builds in, he can move in further.
Sure. I mean, teleconsultations, I get. My question was more around because one of the bigger issues that people in the reviews that you were seeing people have is the process to unlock the scanner and the process to avail test and external consultations, right? Those are very need-based. Those are not very sort of child-friendly things that one could do.
So there were two segments herein. One is you are going to visit a doctor for OPD. The second thing, to make things easier, it could be a a very simple health checkup. Say, for example, as in blood test or something that could trigger him to use the scanner. So we just want him to be familiar with the scanner so that he understands how scanner works and doesn't come and criticize on social platforms just because there is a lack of understanding that he has based on how scanner works and how it should work based upon his assumption on cashless healthcare.
Okay. Okay. And what about the drop-in conversion funnel? Because now you're asking to the user to do a considerable more number of steps than they would have to before the purchase.
So herein we basically had are thinking in this way that in the very first step, the user will come onto the platform. He'll experience it for a period of 30 days. If he is actually impressed by even, he would move on to subscribe to it. And that number, even though in the first month it would be lesser, because we are actually cannibalizing even care for this for the very first month. But in later month, if he converts, then he could be the one who actually relates to even's idea and vision.
Okay.
It helps in long term also, just to add it helps the company in long term because the concept of comprehensive healthcare is new in India. Most people know what health insurance is, but nobody knows what health cover or comprehensive healthcare is. So it will help them to experience the platform and understand like how it can benefit me. So yeah.
I think just to add, I think the activation should be proactive, right? Not reactive. So in order to make it proactive, maybe by keeping it free, there's a lot of people who don't even understand how the OPD cashless works. It's still something new. So giving them the free and telling them it's not just the OPD, but it's also about healthcare, like getting a mental checkup or a psychiatrist into kind of a consultations are also very important. People will get to know that only when the experience is what we felt. So it needs to be more proactive activation.
Interesting.
All right.
I have a quick follow-up question. I think the point on reviews is, just very, very perceptive and is genuinely the thing that keeps me up at night every day. Because I think we have two problems, right? One is our CSAT and NPS is actually, for whatever reason, pretty great. It is about 90% plus, okay? Now, at the same time, we did a fairly thorough analysis of the reviews, and we found that apart from, I think it was 5 or 6% of the reviews are basically operational errors. We have made a mistake and we've corrected it, but straight up, we did make a mistake, right? Something happened and we messed up. However, the rest of the time, the reviews really fall into two buckets. One is people that we were unfortunately not able to onboard as of now because our insurance partner said, hey, no, you can't take someone who had a cardiac surgery last year or has a recently recovered from cancer. Unfortunately, that's just something we can't do anything about. And then the other piece was situations where people bought the membership, let's say within a few weeks, they decided that they wanted to use it. And then it turns out they've had a historical health condition for 3 years. And unfortunately, at that point, given that we do an onboarding where we ask to know about your health history, we're unable, our insurance partners say, hey, that's a non-disclosure, and we're unable to pay for it. So I'd love to understand, how would you go about addressing those two kind of realities, right? Where actually most of the negative reviews that we see are often in cases where I'm not sure we would have done anything different. If someone tells us, hey, I'm totally fine, I'm onboard me to the membership, and then a week later they tell an external doctor, I've had gallstones for the last 3 months, and I got even to pay for it. It's very, very hard for us to A, pay for it, and B, kind of, when they post a negative review, I kind of get it, they're frustrated. But at the same time, from our point of view, if we pay for those users, everyone else has to pay more, and we think that's unfair. So I'd love to understand, how do you think there is a better way of being transparent with the negative reviews? Do you think it's just the price of admission?
Yeah, I would like to answer that. The first one, you mentioned that there are a lot of bad reviews, and we also went through the reviews and we checked the replies also. But we felt like in their replies, in the ORM part, we could be a little more empathetic. Instead of saying these details are there in the terms and condition, we could be a little more empathetic. We can tell that we understand you and we'll try to do better to make you understand this or something on those lines. We can brainstorm on that. On the second part, when you are saying that people are buying the policy and later they found out that they have some diseases, and then we are forced to cancel those plans, their subscription. So there is only one way we can solve them, when we can tell them upfront what this is the process. So this is what you could expect. If it is not there, then it creates problem. Like, it creates bad experience and it frustrates the user. Like, I went their platform, it was not clearly mentioned there. Now I purchased their plan and went for the test. Now they are telling that I can't be onboarded. So that creates a bad experience. So it's really best to be upfront, be there, and be transparent about the whole process.
Cool, really helpful. Did you speak
Awesome.
to any negative reviews out of interest during the user research? Did you try reaching out to them?
Yeah, I mean, actually, they reached out to us. That was amazing. We had put up a problem that we are trying to solve on the LinkedIn, and we got multiple of them. We were very happy talking to these users. So one the same scenario, right? The same persona. I think he might have joined the call as well, because he was very much interested in knowing more about Evan. So he said that he was very interested in what Evan was offering, and he also took the maximum, that is the pro package. But after 3 days or so, he got a call and saying that it got rejected, that he'll be asked to put on a waiting period for three years. And so the reason being that he communicated saying he had a sore muscle or something, and the doctor just said this is already an existing thing, and this is not covered in the insurance, and now you have to be on a waiting period that doesn't fall under. So what we heard from the user is what was suggested from the user was, why didn't they get a test done? I don't know what sore muscle is. I don't know what a painful muscle is. There's difference in medical terminology. I might have used sore, but maybe they should have got it checked by triggering a test from there, and I'm okay to pay another 500. But just on an oral conversation, they telling putting me on a waiting period of 3 years was not the right thing to do. So bringing in more of a process of getting extra tests done, either for free or for charging it on a customer, I think they're okay with that.
Cool. Super helpful.
I would like to add in one more point in here, as if what you're saying is exactly right. Whatever you do, there would be negative comments, and one cannot do anything therein. But one thing that we recently saw that Even is actually doing is that you are publishing advertisements on newspapers that cover more area, make people more aware about Even. There has to be another side to a story, and that should be more prominent. That could be done. Means that I think you are already working on that part.
Got it. A really good
Awesome.
point.
Great. Vinay, over to you.
Yeah, I think I really liked the solutioning, what it has been done. My only feedback, I don't have questions. I just a couple of feedbacks. One, I believe, especially the B2B solutions could have been a little more focused and a bit more in depth. It felt very surface level, very scratchy. I think there could have been so much more that could be done on that front. Plus, it's from a business point of view also, that will be a much higher ticket size, thing, and it's a B2B sale. So my assumption is maybe the effort is a little higher, but easier to crack, and like at one go you get users. I'm a buyer on that front, basically, right? So I was exploring, and the website is little less than basic actually for the B2B clients right now that you have. I think event team should definitely go and do something.
Feedback taken. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have expected the team to look into it and like really flag it as the first thing. Second, on the B2C front, I also went to the website and before the session started, etc. I was trying to explore. Luckily I'm in the market right now to buy health insurance for my family, so I was actually exploring it as a user, etc. I've always wondered that why do we not have OPD covers in the insurance? I saw it for the first time. I had never seen any other company offer it. I now see in the comments that a couple of them offer it. I really loved it, but there were a lot of confusions. I think it's too big a USP for you to hide it. The way you've done, right? I think you need to speak. You need to really highlight it. You need to bring it up front. It's very important. Not many companies, not many insurances offer it, and it's really a very big pain point for the people who are looking up for it. So I'm glad the team identified it, but I think there should have been more done from the team to highlight it and use it as a selling point. I think it can be a very, very big selling point. So yeah, that, and I was hoping for a little. So the challenges that you have identified and solutions that you have offered are very simple, very basic. Simple is the best, and so I think should be implemented. But I was really hoping for a little more interesting ideas on the conversion front. I think what you have offered is very basic, very nice, but for a cohort who have learned product, but I'm now kind of trying to give a feedback on the learnings that you have done and the output that you. This is more like a capstone for you, right? So if the similar sort of ideas are for the stage team, I would really blast them. I would tell them to go do more homework and go do more homework and come back with better ideas. I'll just go and tell them that. So just
Awesome. Great feedback. I mean, on just the OPD front, I'll talk about myself. So my dad is in Air Force, so I get free health cover, being a son of him. But still, I chose to buy even because I just really liked it. I didn't knew any, because if you are a defense personnel son, so you get health cover for free, anything and everything, right? So exactly, I just felt like even is offering that. You are giving anything and everything for that much price. So it's too good to be true. And that what makes me feel like, okay, what's hiding? So maybe it can be a bit more clear. Maybe it can be a bit more out there. Yeah, that's all right. Let's go to Udit. Really sorry. It's been a very long time for you to keep waiting.
No worries.
Rohan, sorry to interrupt, but Vinay, thank you so much for your feedbacks. We have taken it very positively and we'll definitely work on it as a team. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so just to add some feedback, I don't really have any questions. I think with healthcare and insurance, what we are primarily solving for is trust, and unless the customers really feel that they're not really gonna buy, I mean, I don't think the UX of the website matters. It's what probably you should also think about is the overall product strategy, that maybe through referrals, right? What are the off product or off website channels that you can explore to activate more customers? I think I felt that part was missing and was too focused on the existing product. So probably add that as well.
Plus one to that, Udit. Those are the kind of ideas I was also hoping for from the team.
Great. I think that's good enough feedback for you guys to go and work again. Right. So, all right. Over to the next team. Team stage. Is team stage ready? Good luck, guys. Have a blast. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Enjoy the time. Yeah, that's important.
Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we chose a stage assignment. But before really go deeper into what Stage is and everything that we did, I just want to make an introduction about the team. We are somewhat connected to this assignment because we have a multicultural team. We live in different countries, 3 different countries. And I would like to do a brief introduction. We have Naveen Kumar, who's a software engineer living in Bangalore, India. We've got Taruna Sharma, who's a project manager living in Dubai, working in Dubai as well. We've got Drashti, who's a software engineer living in Gujarat. And we've got Mansi, who is a UX designer living in Delhi. And we have Sankalp Malhotra, he's a software engineer living in Delhi. And I am living in Hanoi. I'm a country lead. I'm a Portuguese, so I am used also to to live in different countries, and this is why definitely we felt a deep connection with the assignment that we chose. This slide is a little bit messy, but it's also on purpose because it shows a little bit not only the process, it's just a small portion of the process that we used, but definitely it was a very hard task. We have to admit that. When we chose the assignment, it was like, okay, this is an OTT platform. We all know how OTT platforms work. It should not be very difficult to tackle the problem. But we could not be more further from the truth because Stage operates in a completely different context than we are used to. We live in tier 1 cities, and the content we consume, our needs, our motivations are completely different. And this is where we felt a lot of struggles, but I can guarantee you we learned a lot. It was a very great experience. And this is where we want to also to share a little bit. Of course, I cannot make such a great introduction that Vinay did about Stage. And this is where we really notice that the greatest difference between what we are used to and what Stage is the kind of target it's aiming has to do with exactly what Vinay said. I mean, outside of the urban areas, there is actually no language. It's dialects, and these dialects tend to change every 300 kilometers, and they are tied to local culture, and they play a big role in how the people from these subregions and regions, their needs and the way they live their lives, what their values, and is intimately connected to all that. And this is where Stage comes in, because Stage answers for these needs, answers for what these people living in these countrysides and with so many different kind of needs and interests and motivations, and they and Stage not only sees the opportunity here and offers the content and also operates at a different level. It also promotes the kind of culture that these users actually need and they value. And this is especially important in nowadays where globalization at the world scale is definitely more and more accepted by countries overall. And this is why when we realized that Stage was actually promoting the local cultures and moving a little bit away of the globalization, this is where we saw definitely Stage is operating at the level that we ourselves, we feel connected to it. Stage definitely wants a little bit about the vision. Stage really wants to become the largest hyperlocal platform for entertainment, connection, and celebration of the culture and all dialect-speaking people in the country. I needed to paraphrase this part because I think that this vision really shows the vision of Stage. And now let's talk a little bit about the product itself. So Stage is accessible through different types of platforms, mobile, smart TVs, and web. Being mobile by far the largest way to access stage and to consume content. And and stage here, where we also see that it's very different from the others, is that stage produces their own content. 80% is their own content, completely produced for the consumers. Right now, it's targeting people from who can speak Ariandi and Natasha, and this content is completely personalized in that sense. It's not like the OTTs that we are all used to, that, okay, we see Hollywood movies completely different from our cultures. And this is where Stage really is doing a very nice job in our sense. And now I would like to give Navin the word.
Thank you, Paulo. So here is our problem. So we break down the problem into two things. One is how to increase the paid subscription by 50% and how to get more users to watch more content. So to start to understand the problem, we start applying 5 V's like why, who, what, when, where, and how. So we came up with different number of questions, and we reached out to different peoples, and then we reached out Stage team as well, and then we came up with data analysis, and that's where you see on the left-hand side. The number of VIP subscribers are around 457K, and we need to increase by 50%, and this is a plan, 685K. And how to get the number of users? Currently we are in 4.2 million, and weekly active users are around 1 million, and the people who are watching the content is around 35 to 40 minutes per day. That needs to be increased around 60 to 90 minutes, and we need to increase weekly active users as well as the total number of users. So that's how we got the numbers from Stage team, and then we have done a couple of research on that. So the initial research is more about who is consuming. Okay, so the end users are more interested to watch online videos on mobile. So more than 80% of the people are watching videos on video, or watching OTT on videos. And then what is the current audience size who watch online videos? It starts from 2018, we were around some 25 million, and slowly it got increased. Many OTT platforms, more audiences, and people are growing in that particular section. Let's move to the next. And what people are really interested in OTT platform, and more than 30% of the people would like to watch full-length movies followed by TV shows. And then what people are really interested, whether it is a comedy or action movies, and we saw.
Okay, is it lost for me or for everyone?
No, for us too.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Paulo, he covered already. We can move to the next slide.
So sorry, there was some network issue. So yeah, the reasons why people choose OTT platform is they want a better content, more number of content, and better viewing experience, and it should be always affordable. As per the data, we have more than 40% people are interested in better content quality, and 50% talks about affordable price so that they can purchase the OTT. And then OTT, what is the current market share? Right now, we have picked only the regional content OTT platforms, starting with MX Player, Sony Live, and Balaji. For our analysis, we have picked these competitors, and right now, Stage is in 3% market for regional contents, especially Haryana and Rajasthan. And there are other platforms, other OTTs where they have a different content as well, but Stage currently targets Rajasthani and Haryana. The vision is to increase more dialects in the coming days or coming future. That is an end plan for Stage. And so this is mainly about Stage. And
you're on mute, Naveen. Maybe you can turn off the video because it will increase the quality of your audio, if that's possible.
Am I audible now? Sorry, guys.
Yes,
Hello?
you're audible.
Yeah. So we have done some analysis on what kind of journal people are interested in stage. And Kahani is the one which contributes almost 60%, followed by comedy. So these are all the basic data which we have received from stage, and we have done some analysis which we already saw it. Now, and what kind of competitor analysis which we have done. So as I mentioned, we have taken a couple of competitors and we have gone through a couple of items which are available based on multiple discussion with different people who consume stage product and what do they really want and what are the features which are currently available. We compared all these analysis with different competitors, and this is a list. And what is the impact also we have covered. Let's move to the next one. Yeah, this is the continuation of the list which I talked, and the right hand side it talks about the impact. So I will hand over it to Drashti. She will take that.
Can you go back to the earlier slide, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
So hello everyone. As Naveen talked about mobile playing the most important part in OTT consumption, so is the stage mobile platform playing the most part in its progress and growth. So we had to review the Play Store Play Store reviews that people have placed in the stage platform. Currently, there are 4 million downloads, and it is highly rated with 4.8 stars and 37.3 reviews. But like not all the things are good about it. Some are positive reviews, some are negative reviews. But the most thing that we can get out of this reviews analysis is most people have an emotional connect to the stage and its content. They really like what stage is promoting their native dialect and culture, so they are really emotionally connected to it. Also, they're like inspired by the Shark Tank episode that stage has like presented in the Shark Tank on national TV, and people are really inspired from them and they want to download the app. Also, we did some user surveys about stage app, but since most of the people that reply to our surveys are from tier 1 cities, most of them are not aware about stage, and so we had requests to include many of the dialects that currently are not present in the stage platform. So because most of the people speak other languages than Haryanvi or Rajasthani, that is already present in the stage app currently. Yeah, next slide. So how did we go about user interviews based on the reviews, and what was our purpose behind it? For interviewing users, our main purpose was to gather insights and opinions of the stage users as well as the other OTT platform consumers, that what do they actually want to see and how do the people in the village side or tier 3 cities, tier 3 villages look for in a content like a stage, in a platform like stage. So we created survey forms. We initially we were not able to find audiences from tier like villages, since Paulo mentioned that we all are from tier 1 city. But here comes like stage people helping us with their like most active users and not so active users as well as other OTT platform consumers. So our approach was to find out the users for stage platform and have the commonality between them. So what were our key findings? Mostly we found out that people from villages are deeply rooted in their culture. They speak their native language. They do not want to have any they are deeply rooted. They have emotional connect with the content, and hence they like stage very much. The people are simple, they are very simple people. They are willing to spend more time on the app, and they are like they have a financial crunch, so like they cannot they are looking for discounts upfront for like consuming content online and stuff.
So Drishti, to add, I think that's what you
Yeah.
wanted to say. So people, they have a lot of time, but they lack in money, and they have a very
Money.
good personal appeal with stage. So I and Drishti did interview of 3 cohort of people. One who are active users, recurring subscribers of stage. 2 who were there on the stage platform. They came, but they never took the subscription. And then the third cohort, which we narrowed down, was the people who took stage, but they did not renew. So yeah, Drishti, go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you, Sankal. So based on the findings or based on the interviews, we divided users in the 3 personas. First one is a housewife, or you can say a homemaker from village of Haryana. She is like very much interested in the content surrounding women empowerment, and she doesn't understand any other language because she is not very well educated. She is like understands her native dialect. She can speak only her native dialect, and for her, her free time is to be spent with her family. And she wants like emotional connect with the, because she understands the pains of women and how women are treated in Haryana. So she wants she wants to consume content based on that, surrounding that. Second slide, please. Okay, and we talked to a person named Khattar Samson Jajjar Haryana. He is a active member of a stage who's very happy consuming the content, is very happy with all the things that stage has to offer, has a nice family time with stage on the smart TV app, smart TV platform. But yeah, we have some problems there. We need to improve the smart TV platform and its experience for users. Yeah. We'll surely add that Lal. Okay. And the third cohort of users are from tier 1 who like migrated from villages of Haryana to tier 1, but they are also deeply rooted in their culture. And hence, when they like discovered stage on the national TV platform that someone from Haryana is doing a nice stuff, he was inspired by that. And so he downloaded it, but he has a lot of other options for consuming OTT, like content online.
Hello guys. So
yeah,
I'm gonna talk about user journey, starting from how people get to know about the app, and then how, like, what made them download it, and then what happens when they sign up, how's their experience when they engage with the platform, and all of that. I'm also going to discuss a little bit about opportunities in brief, but we'll get into detailings of those opportunities that we have identified with these pain points, and we'll try to get into detailing in the upcoming slides. But before I proceed, I just wanted to highlight my personal pain point with Stage app. So I reside in UAE, and like it was so difficult to stream content over here. I mean, everything is banned. I wasn't able to play a single video. I wanted to subscribe to it to even get into that VIP platform and see and have more insights, but I just could not play any of the video. I tried to buy the subscription to VPN. I tried to connect to India server so that I could just stream videos myself, but yeah. And also it was pretty interesting to see the platform that is shown to me on my app looks very different than what is shown to people in India. So obviously,
sorry, Taruna, to interrupt, but we have the same app available everywhere in the
I'll give you an example. There is no referral section here. I can't find it in the app. There is no referral thing in user settings.
It may be that you are on iPhone. iPhone
No,
and Android have some
Android.
differences.
That's what, Android.
But so then there is, you need to send me the app. We need to,
Of
because
course,
we have
I'm
the
going to
same
send you the
system.
screenshot. Don't worry about it. I'm going to do that.
I'm surprised. And I have friends in UAE who are using, so I'm very surprised it is not working there.
What are you saying? I want to meet those friends. But okay.
Yes. Well, I'll connect with you separately for this.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into the journey. So Drishti and Sankalp, they did a very nice job reaching out to people. They posted on LinkedIn, but tier 1 people only get to see your post on LinkedIn. So they were only approaching and saying, hey, we want to help. But we, to be honest, wanted to reach out to people who are actually from villages and everything. But obviously, when you are working remotely, it's not a very easy job. But definitely, if you were given an opportunity to work inside the company, we would definitely go out of our way and try to figure out user pain points by really talking to those guys. And obviously, there was a language barrier as well. Like, we did not know Haryanvi, and these guys were from villages and they knew Haryanvi, so we did not know how to even communicate. Although we do understand a little bit, but
Did we lose you, Tarna?
Can't hear
Tarna,
you.
we lost you.
what? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
now.
All
we can
right.
hear you.
I just have to shout a little. That's what I figured. Okay, fine. All right. So starting with discovery, how people are basically getting to know about the stage is like the number one motivation for them is Shark Tank. They've all watched Shark Tank and they were very inspired when they saw that Haryanvi content is coming on OTT and they wanted to see what the app is all about and everything. But still, the pain point is that people who do not watch Shark Tank, they had no idea what the stage was all about. And that's one of the opportunities that we have figured, because Shark Tank was able to get a lot of traction to downloads and to that sort of awareness within audience. So we think marketing has a lot of potential when it comes to spreading awareness in those areas. Also, there are a lot of people who are very motivated and they really want to look for their content online. They go to YouTube, they go to Google, figure out, like, they have their personal preferences when it comes to watching content. When I say that, I mean they want to look at their actors performing. They're very emotionally related to their actors performing and with their content and everything, and that's what they look for when they go online. And yeah, so this is also one of the pain points. So if they discover stage probably via YouTube, because YouTube also has stage channel, so they also stream videos and trailers and everything there in that channel. So if they discover stage app through those searches, then they also that's how they get to know about the app, and they download it to watch the full content. And so yeah, so here is also a gap that we could figure out when I was trying to look for something online, basic key searches like Haryana serial or something like that. There were things that were not coming in my search results. And I mean, there is a lot of opportunity there as well, where we could do something about the searches. We can probably do some optimization over there. In fact, I went to Play Store and started searching Indian OTT, and there were other platforms that were showing up like Alt Balaji, MX Player. And in the first round, like in the first view of the search results, there was no listing of stage. And this is where I thought, this is where we thought that there is a scope here to increase the awareness when people actually are looking for it, because they do put an effort to find their content. Then after they discover the app, they want to download it, they download it, and the first thing that they see is the sign up thing. They want to sign up, but they're really not sure what they're signing up for. What are they going to see? I'm talking about people who do not know about stage as well. So somehow they see the app and they are asked a few questions. What is your language? And they get disappointed that their language is not listed. Okay, so this is one of the pain points that we figured after talking to a lot of users. Then we see there are a lot of promotions going on. These are like onboarding ties, where again, we see an opportunity to promote certain things rather than just subscription. Sorry, I'm sorry. Just a second, sorry.
Got it. I just feel silence is such a killer, even for 30
Sorry,
seconds.
guys. That's like, what do we say? I live alone. I'm a very sad person. Okay, I have to answer the doors and the calls that I get in between. Okay. Yeah, so I was talking about the promotions that they see when they select their language. So yeah, I mean, that's where we see an opportunity to promote certain type of content. rather than promoting the subscription. That's what we feel, because ultimately the focus should be on content. And if they really like it, if they think they can relate to something that they see on the app, it's what going to drive them towards conversion. So the pain points that we discovered in the onboarding journey is that they had no idea about content without signing up, that we've already covered. Their language is not even listed. So we have an opportunity to add more dialects. I'm pretty sure Stage team is working on in that area. And then we have like no option to choose multiple languages. So this is also one of the things that we have figured, that people do speak multiple languages. And not just that, even as a user, if there is really a good content out there, we do all watch Korean shows and all of that, right? So this should be considered in mind, and should, like, people do speak multiple languages, and they, even if the content is not in their language, they would like to still watch it if it's really good. So we have an opportunity to add that sort of an option within the app. Then after they, let's say, sign up, they see what the app is all about, they engage with the content. And how did they do that? They look at the home screen, first of all, to browse the content. They go to the search screen to figure out, like, okay, is this something that I've heard? It's good. Maybe let me just type in and see if the search result shows any sort of results according to their, whatever interest they are looking for. And then there are other things also, which is pretty interesting in the app that's related to upcoming content, and something that they can be notified about. Again, this is one of the things that doesn't work in UAE. I see a lot of videos on upcoming section, but I'm not able to play. It just looks like a plain image tile instead of a video. So I initially thought maybe there's no information related to trailers and all of that. So anyway, so we realized during this process, people are not able to find a lot of good results on searches. Like we personally try to kind of replicate the scenarios where, let's say, I mean, people are used to intelligent searching mechanism where they have to, really don't type in the entire thing to figure out what exactly the content they are looking for. Even if I say, let's say, Mewati is one of the, there is one top trending search. Even if I just make a spelling mistake, it doesn't show anything, which leads to a little bit of drop off, I feel. And then people might end up thinking that the content isn't available. And obviously there is a lot of scope of personalization over there. Maybe I'm looking for some content which is probably relevant to some specific genre, but if I go to search, there is no saved searches there. I mean, it doesn't really tell what exactly is the genre I'm looking for when I type in something. So there is some scope over there to optimize the whole experience for the users. And we also think,
small reminder, we need to pay up a little.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll do that. Sorry. Okay, I'll just quickly finish this. And we also figured out, again, the solutioning in detail will be taken care in the next slides, but I just wanted to point it out that in the previous slides, when we were doing the user research, we saw that there is a lot of interest in terms of what kind of content people watch. They are interested in watching action, romance, and all of that. But we do not have that sort of genre when we look for those. I mean, if you see the tiles, there's not, these genres are not even listed, which are probably very common and popular in general. So again, I think when they engage with the content, it lacks personalization. We can add a lot of personalization by asking a lot of things, or maybe adding a progressive profiling. So we have an opportunity over there. And the number one problem that people have identified with their plan is the data consumption. So if we are targeting people who are in tier 2, tier 3 cities, we have to think about the plan that they are on, and they generally use mobile to stream movies and everything, and they really get frustrated because their data get consumed really fast. So we have a scope of adding, doing something in that area. Can you go to the next slide, please, Paulo? All right. So again, when people pay for it, they really do not know whether they are going to get value out of it, and that's one of the pain points as well. Like they feel that the money, it's asking too much, and they are not ready for that sort of commitment, or a monthly commitment or whatever. So we have an opportunity to, show the users that, we offer a trial subscription, or maybe we come up with a better pricing model comparing if relative to other whatever competitor apps we have in the market. So, and people, we have also identified what exactly motivates people to come to the platform, and it's mainly the content. So it's a content platform, so you have to make sure the content is released frequently. When they do not see releases, like frequent new releases, then they get disappointed. And maybe we have an opportunity to collaborate with producers or agencies, or maybe the content creators who can create content and we can publish it on our platform. And then we have a referral system. As I said, it was something which was very unclear. We tried to connect with the Indian audience and see how that works. So generally the user journey is that you send a WhatsApp giving a link, and then the other person, they can use the link to download the app, but then what next? How the other person is going to get the cash back, because that's what you guys promised, that you're going to give them the cash back if the other person subscribed to it, but there is like literally no information about anything, because we don't have a wallet system over here in the app, right? So yeah, that's all about user journey and the opportunities we see. I think I've covered the next slide also, so no need to bore you with that. So yeah, thank you.
So thank you, Taruna. Thank you. You for very well explaining the user journey and also covering the opportunities with that. So given the scope of the problem statement in hand, we decided to filter out the pain points in the funnel and brainstorm few solutions together. So one thing, like India mein jo dikhta hai wahi bikta hai. So there is something which need to pretty much be centric about is we are selling content, so it should be pretty visible. So one thing which you could think about is getting more local Instagram influencers like the Sangwan family and the Shoran family, which was one of the very feedback given by a lot of users. So like we can do collaborations with them and they can try promoting the app. And also we do need to work on the referral strategy, which is covered in the as a featured slide ahead in the presentation, and we have the UI mockups also ready for that. So we make basically the customers are brand ambassadors. That's what the intention is with the with the referral strategy. Showing a little content preview before asking somebody to sign up builds a lot of trust, and a motivation and a curiosity about the platform. So that's something which we thought would be definitely helping the discovery funnel, and it would also reduce the bounce rates. About the the onboarding journey, I think we need to understand our users better. So there are around 4 to 5 screens already in the onboarding journey. So we don't want to increase the number of screens. So we thought, why not to work on that and make it a little better, where we also understand what the user is coming from and what are his preferences basically, so that we can give him a more personalized experience ahead of the matrix. So about the activation part, there are a lot of things like I would say users are pretty happy with honestly pretty happy with the stage here, but then why not make them more happier? Like what's stopping us to do things around, why not to pick up points which can be improved and do something. So that's what we have picked up. We have few mockups ahead ready for display. Paulo, can we go to the next slide, please? So one question here for everyone in the round. How many times have you used credentials of different OTT platforms from your friends and, from people whom you really don't know also? I have done it, honestly. I did. So I use credentials of a lot of people ahead. And that's something I think is there in India, very prevalent. And I think all of us are pretty much aware of this. So what we did also, we in our user interviews, we asked a lot of questions around the subscription packages, and we came to know like the cohort of users that we interviewed, like who are there in the platform, they are consuming the free content and are not converting. What we got to learn from them is that they have a subscription in their family or friend, which they are using in another mobile, and they are also using the free content. So what we suggest here is we can limit the account sharing. And definitely we don't want to stop the doors or close the doors for people who are interested in the content. So why not offer, a discounted price for 6th person onwards? Let's say we restrict it to 5 credential parallel access. And then we say 6th person who wants to access the profile can be a linked account and they can get, some discount, maybe 40, 50%, whatever we can think of. So another thing is about the watch list and push notifications. So a lot of times there are a lot of content already in the application, and we have a watch list and favorite section, but we forget to revisit. I mean, it happens with me honestly with Netflix for sure. So yeah, so why not to have a recommendation list, a watch list, where you get some push notifications. We have a mock-up around that as well. So one thing which is very much emphasized and in prominent in our user interviews was the network, the data problem. So how do we solve the data problem as product? Like we don't have access to the ISPs for sure, but then is there anything which we can do around the data? So that we have covered in the next slide. So I'm going to talk about that in the next one. Before that, follow. Thank you. So around the referral funnel, that's something which we identified as a opportunity door. So we want to make our customers, our users, our brand ambassadors. And currently in the referral scheme, as Taruna already mentioned, that there is less information about how the referral works. So we would like to redesign that, and we would like to promote a culture where users become our brand ambassadors. That's what the strategy would be. Follow. So, we always have limited resources. We have constraints in life. So we cannot do everything which is there for sure. So given the constraint of time, we had to prioritize our opportunities, and we use the impact, cost, and the feasibility matrices to understand like which can add better value and can be done in least cost, so that we scored it. And clearly these are the winners. Follow. So one thing about the data problem which we could think of is we can have an adaptive streaming where it is dependent on your internet speed. Like when you join, if the speed is less, you get a lesser resolution, and if the speed and the connection is very good, you get a better resolution. There is something which we can do around the video compression. There are H265 and H264 formats, which can be used very well, if not already. So we can use those to basically reduce the the data sites basically. And we can also have a data feature settings in the in the settings, app control settings, where basically the user can enable it if they are facing lack of data or problems with the data. In this case, it will always restrict the user to not download content over Wi-Fi, and it will also allow user to be in the optimal the least data size. There can be a lot of encoding optimizations which can done. Basically, we can revisit and see what parameters we are using, and maybe we can reduce the unnecessary stuff or the redundant information from the data. So what the metrics can be used to see the performance of these features or these things could be like how many users are using the data saver, and how many are choosing that option, enabling it from the settings, and things like that. So around the watch list and reminder, I would request Naveen.
Hey, hi. So the main idea is today we have a push notification for all users. It's about new content or new movies. But what happens when somebody is already watching a series or movie which they have started, but they don't get reminder? So this mainly it will increase engagement by reminding users to continue watching the series. At the same time, it will improve the retention by reminding users to come back to the platform. That's all. That's why we have introduced this feature. And here are the metrics which we have identified: number of people creating watch lists and removing content from watch list. And watch list is something like which we need to add so that it will give a reminder that these are the n number of videos which I put it in watch list, and it will say that you come and watch the platform. It gives more engagement as well as employee retention, user retention. So the next one is redesigning the home screen experience. So today we don't have an option to preview content on mouse over. So that is one point which we need to highlight here. So again, here also we see a good increase engagement by giving a better sense of what the content is all about, and it will reduce the bounce rate as well. So that's why we prefer to keep this preview content, and we suggested this should be available before users sign up, as well as when he logs in and come back to the screen, home screen, or wherever he wants to do. If you just do a mouse over, then you'll see the actual content. So these are a few experience which we will, if we are interested, so that the user will be more happy. And a couple of metrics which we have already added here. So number of people changing the dialect and browsing VIP shows. These are top metrics which we have identified as part of redesigning home screen.
Yeah, so we also wanted to optimize the onboarding experience. So currently in the onboarding experience, as already mentioned, we don't emphasize on users' preferences, and we don't understand the users well. So we want to give that chance to the user to let us know. And always there's an option to skip if in case they are in a hurry to, or the curiosity leads to the home page. So yeah, I think there is a number of metrics that we can think of, like how many people are. Yeah, one more very important, improvement we would have highlighted is like currently when you go to the app, when you download, it is always in Hindi by default, the alphabets. And a couple of users did complain about this, that we would like to have an option to switch the app language even before the sign up or the onboarding process, and that's where the motivation is coming from. It will definitely increase our reach and understanding. And yeah, I would like to go to the next slide, Paulo. So we also want to introduce a credit-based referral system. This why we want to do is basically we want to there are a lot of complaints about people who really like the content. They are seeing the free content, and they don't have the right purchasing power as what we understand from the user interviews. They are really interested into the app. They are looking for more discounts. So why not basically make them more engaging, the way we give them an option to take part in more engagement of in the application, and based on their engagement we give them some credit stores, and basically which will help us gain more engagement and loyalty and retention on the platform. So this is about limiting the credentials and account sharing. So so yeah, I mean, this is what we suggested. Basically, like we should limit the amount of, the amount of parallel logins and parallel usage of the application, and also we can maybe give upfront discounts for people who are into a link benefit. So I would give opportunity to Mansi, who designed the UI UX for us with us. So yeah, Mansi, all yours.
So after getting all the feedback from the users, that's how we have redesigned a few screens to make the app more seamless and engaging for the masses. So as you can see, the first few screens are a part of the onboarding process. It consists of selecting the dialects, knowing a user, choosing shows and genres according to their taste so that they get a personalized home feed. Paulo, can you just move to the next slide?
I want to highlight one more thing, Mansi, there. So currently we have an option only to select one dialect, but a lot of users requested. So we also want to introduce an option to select multiple dialects if you relate to it. Thank you.
Yeah. We have given a skip option for all these screens if they wish not to do so. And an option to change the app language can be seen at the top left bar. For the home feed, now the user can scroll to the app and check for VIP content, view trailers, and find their interested watchers. Initially, the home screen was.
Go ahead, Mansi.
Yeah, Sankar. So initially, the home screen was too cluttered with all their content and ads for recharge. So we have removed genre and a few sections from the top and provided with important screens like trending in local region, trending VIP content, etc. So to improve the user experience, we have an option to preview content on mouse hover in the home screen. We will provide with the feature of giving the first episode for free to view for VIP content, as it will create curiosity and interest. This can get a section of users to convert themselves into paid ones for VIP content if they want to continue watching. Follow next slide. So for settings, we have a credit-based referral system. The reason behind keeping the referral program is firstly because the users either watch free content or share credentials of paid users for VIP content. And secondly, there are people who watch free content and feel like $399 per year is a high price point. So that is where the referral option comes into play. When a user shares his or her referral link, their friend gets to download the app and views a single video, then both of them will be credited with some points. Later, these points can be redeemed while recharging. So this encourages user retention, loyalty, and users to watch more content for credit points in exchange. So as you can see, we have added features, two features basically to increase the engagement. One is we will be giving a push notification button as reminder so that the users don't forget any shows or series. And secondly, a data saver feature, as we talked about, in the mobile application to adjust the video quality based on internet connection. They will have an option to restrict the downloaded content over Wi-Fi. So over to Paula now.
So this is the refer screen.
Sorry, Paula?
Yeah,
this
so
is the
so basically this is what the credit-based referral system we were thinking to introduce, where basically you can share your referral to your friends using social media, and how it works has been improved, which was lacking in the current referral screens. And also each time you do a referral, you get some credit points which can be converted while you do the recharges. So this will also help us making the users our brand ambassador, and also help them increasing their purchase power. That's what the entire idea is. Paulo, can we move to the next slide?
So of course we want to give a big thanks to the team stage, because they were amazing. They reached out to us via LinkedIn, and in particular Ashish, the project manager. He provided us a lot of information that was
And
very
Akash.
valuable. Yes, and definitely we got, thanks to him, we got access to users that otherwise would be virtually impossible for us to get access to. So thank you.
Amazing. Is it done? All right. I think
Yeah,
it
Rohan,
took
we
a
are
bit
open to
more than
questions.
expected, but all right. A bit of hiccups, but I think good job at the end, guys. I'll open the stage. I mean, to Vinay. I think he's been really excited with the emotions. So yeah, Vinay, over to you. You're on mute, Vinay.
Sorry. First of all, thank you so much for doing such a detailed work on stage. Really appreciate, the effort, the kind of time that you spent on this is very visible, and you have done your best to think about the problem statements very deeply. My first reaction to what I saw, and in terms of recommendations and the identification of problems, is that you haven't used the app enough, or we are doing a really bad job, and those things are not really visible. But then that bad job is what I would want you to highlight, instead of saying that this is not there in the app when it is there in the app. For you as a product manager, if you're doing research on the app, I would have loved to, see you guys being able to identify it and then say that we would want more visibility on it, instead of saying that this is not there and you should do it. For example, user profiling is something that you recommended on the onboarding screen. Anyone would tell you, and you also said it somewhere in your own presentation, that adding more screens and asking more information will mean a lot of user drops there by default, right? But I don't know, how did you not see it? But we do ask a lot of information from our users after they have signed up. Once they start using our app and they use it over a certain period of time, in between, we keep giving them nudges and we keep asking for information like, why didn't you tell us your name? Why didn't you tell us your age, your location, your PIN code, your interests, and so on and so forth? But we don't ask any of that at once. We ask only one question at a time, every time they log in after a certain period of time, and so on and so forth, right? So in our understanding, that was a more efficient way of collecting information than just asking it upfront, because we tried upfront very initially when we launched the app, and our success rate from download to landing on the homepage after completing registrations was only about 30%. And then we switched from that to saying that we will only ask for phone number. And now, because we have multiple dialects, so we said, okay, we'll ask for dialect, and those are the only things that we need from you to start your experience. And our success rate from download to registrations, landing on the homepage finally, is about 90% plus. Okay. And which means that, which is why we never had to think about the other option that you recommended, which is that why don't we give preview before registrations? Because it is technically almost the same. The 10% that is not able to do it is mostly they will not do it anyways. And the good case here is that we at least have your verified phone number so that we can retarget you, we can reach out to you on WhatsApp, we can, go back to you in some way, etc. At least we have some contact information with you. Even if you uninstall the app, I can come back to you, I can retarget you very specifically, etc., right? So, so that. Also, I saw a lot of recommendations coming in from you guys. At one slide, you were saying you have prioritized based on effort versus output, etc. And at the same time, you are recommending things like few users told you that why don't you have English as an option in the beginning of the app? As a good product manager, you don't solve for those 1 or 2 users who need that option. I would not add a new API call on that screen just to solve for those few 1% users. When I know that anyone who's downloading app and who's going to be a user has to know either Haryanvi or Rajasthani, right? Otherwise, they are anyways a false user for me, even if I have English option. And for example, I don't want to solve for Polo at this point in time. You need to understand that, right? Even if I have English as an option and Polo is able to get inside the app is useless for him anyways, right? So I'll better solve for the users that I know. Haryanvi and Rajasthani users by default, Hindi is the script. They know Hindi. And so it's very safe assumption for 99% of my users that they will know Hindi, they will understand it, they will land on the homepage. And if they are more comfortable with English, they can go back to the settings and change the language as an option. I would not want to add that as a API call on my onboarding, add latency, add more weight on that page unnecessarily when I'm trying to get you inside the app ASAP, essentially, right? And I saw, I'm forgetting now, I forgot to note that another point, but there was one more recommendation similar to this, which was to solve for an exception only, right? And I would encourage you guys as product managers, when you go out there in the real world, don't solve for those exceptions. It's very, it's what is told. So there's a very cliche advice to product managers that you should talk to a lot of users every day. But it's very important also to understand that you can't do everything that user is asking you to do. It's very important to contextualize the user request and see what is relevant and what is, because in reality, most of the people don't know what do they want until you show them what do they need. You have to figure out what do they need and then give them, what is the right version of that, essentially, right? So so it's very important to contextualize that. You can't just act on every user request and then just put it in the product. That way you will end up with a very poor product. Let me tell you, Steve Jobs used to say this, by the way, that people don't know what do they want. You have to understand, you have to think for them, and you have to contextualize their requests and then solve for it, essentially, over time, right? So it's very important. I saw that mistake over and over again in all your recommendations across your presentation. So please make sure to do that. And again, you have not really used the app for a long period of time. You guys downloaded the app, you saw it as one go, and unfortunately, none of you were the users of the app. And so you did not build the interest maybe enough to use it multiple times. And so you would have seen how the experience evolves over time and so on and so forth. Your recommendations would have changed a lot. I like for you being able to, our search is broken. We are fixing it. We fix it to some extent. We're fixing it more. I liked you for identifying that. And the referral definitely broken. We removed it right now. We're rebuilding it. But the way you have built it, I think, is again very shallow. What you guys have recommended here was some version of that is what we had on the app. Simpler version of it. Yours is even more complicated. Good referrals work when they are simple. Is a learning that we have from our own mistakes. We made a mistake. We are trying to make it even more simpler now over time, essentially. What you have recommended, one credit equal to 1 rupee and all of that, I think we made it as simple as that. You invite a user, whoever signs up, we give you 100 rupees cash, and it just didn't work. even that didn't work, right? And their learning was that cash anyways doesn't work. Cash is a very poor motivation for doing referrals. You should only give a motivation to use more of your product and so on and so forth. So we're doing those learnings and then working on them. But again, the referral, the idea of bringing in referral is good, but the way you have executed is, I think, was very poor for today's context and so on and so forth. I am sorry if I'm being harsh in terms of my feedbacks, but I wanted to be sure about, what I tell you. I don't want bad product managers going out there and with a bad idea of this is the right thing to do, etc. So I think you guys need to go back and, well, depth is what I would like you to solve for. Maybe this is a feedback for Rohan also, that depth is something that needs to be solved in the cohort overall. Now listening to the two teams that we have hired here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the feedback that was there constantly throughout the whole 2 weeks that we were solving. But I think maybe it was lack of effort or lack of time they have spent with the product. That could be one of the reasons. But I think you have really kept it very not that way. I mean, I still feel like it's very sugar coated right now, but you have much you could have presented in a much better, or maybe in a much more straightforward way. But
I know. I don't want to be harsh also, but I wanted to make sure the feedbacks is given clearly to the team.
Yeah.
Go
Awesome.
to the panelists.
Yeah, let's go to Uday.
Great job on the research, guys. I think I completely echo Vinay's sentiments here, and I think a little bit of zoom out is needed here. For Stage, I feel that it's a kind of product where you really choose the customer who you do not want to serve, and rather than choosing the customer who you want to serve. So I would have loved if we would have spoken to more existing customers who are already paying and try to understand what they like and how we can acquire more such customers for Stage. It's a kind of product where acquisition strategy will really drive activation for us, and while referrals and these things are more tactical, but to form an overall product strategy, we need to understand the current customer base. Why are they subscribing to Stage, and how did they get to know about this app, this product? Also, I think you mentioned that there is an emotional connect with the product, which which is hard to find for most products. Even the biggest players in this market, like Netflix or MX Player, do not have that emotional connect. How do you leverage that in the overall product strategy? I felt that part we could have capitalized a little bit more on. I don't think referral justifies as community building. I think we probably need to think. I don't have much ideas there, but we probably need to think more about how to leverage that emotional connect with the product and acquire more users. How do you find more like-minded people is basically what we need to work on here, I think.
Awesome. Great. Over to Mank. Mank, you want to add comments?
So I'm going to keep my feedback fairly brief. I think my number one feedback, and this probably applies more generally, right? I think when I'm interviewing people for PM roles, and this is a really interesting problem because I'm probably not the stereotypical Stage user and probably won't be, but I think it was interesting just to listen to. I think numbers, I think even if I'm doing kind of a imaginary task or imaginary product, or in this case, a product where I will not know the specifics of the numbers, I think one framework that I would always come at it is, okay, this is a growth task. And therefore, if some degree of growth is going to be presumably down to, let's say, some degree of paid marketing, I think you can start to construct some kind of benchmark for what a budget could be. For example, how, if you are going to do referrals, kind of what are the kind of products or built-in experiences you can suggest? What are the kind of funnel you need to optimize? what are the benchmarks that actually people do get for this kind of product, and kind of plug them into your own thinking. I think there was a huge amount of focus on, I guess, the experience, which I think was excellent. But for example, if it turns out, and Vinay, I actually have no idea here, but let's say if the CAC for a product like this is $1,000, right? Maybe there is, and one of the biggest issues that people highlighted was on the data side. To what extent are there ways to say, hey, actually, I'm willing to pay for someone's data, right? I'm willing to actually cross-subsidize because it means that I spend less on customer acquisition. And I think a lot of that would come from, again, coming back to thinking about some of the numbers involved in this product and what are the levers around it. And I think that, honestly, that would have applied to something like Even as well, right? And I'd imagine even more so for kind of Blinkit, as we will hear about, where it is a numbers game. I think talking about the use case and the persona is really, really important as well. And actually, like, that is where we should start. But I think if I think of a solution, I would like to think about the solution with some constraints of what numbers may be associated with it, right? What can I afford to do? But I guess that was my feedback.
Awesome. Richa, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Rohan. I think Udit, Mayank, and Vinay have pretty much covered most of the things. But I think one thing that I would, again, sort of highlight that I felt one that what I was missing is sizing of the opportunity and the pain points, right? Like there are multiple problems that people are facing while sign up. And even, let's say, the people who are members, why did they sign up, right? Like that kind of focus was probably not there. Like it was like too exhaustive, which I love. But maybe, hey, what is that? What are these top 2-3 problems if we solve would address, like, let's say, bump up the conversion by X%, right? And that is something that we should focus first, because as a PM, we're not really sort of always struggling with lack of problems. It's basically which problem do I tackle first, and that's the hardest question to answer. Like, how do you sort of prioritize among everything that we there? And I think the solutions that were given were also great, but I think there was some sort of a mismatch between, let's say, how do all of these solutions that we sort of talked about address the problem that came from some of the users that they highlighted. So yeah, just those two things.
Awesome.
Just
Solid.
to add to that, where did the team lose me was the slide where they presented user survey. And see, it's very lazy when you are working on a product and your user survey, you are justified by saying that 82% of the users are saying that they have not heard of Stage, and you are justified by saying that, oh, because we mostly call the city users, sorry, we didn't know. And at the same time, you're saying that you were in touch with the Stage team. You could have made a little more effort to find out the users, real users. The idea was not to talk to some random 50 people. The idea was talk to those 50 people who Stage was relevant to, and then drive insights. And then you would have had some real solutions and problems that you identified and would have worked on, right? And which is why I'm saying this again, that which is why most of your, I don't know, at least in my understanding, your research was not very good. It was very shallow, and so the solutioning. And both because of the simple reason that you did not talk to the right users and enough of them, so to understand the problem really well and so find a solution. So it all, and it's very lazy then to come here and say that, oh, we are from city, we are from whatever different country or whatever. I don't think that is a good way to present it here.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on to that, when we talk about research, there are two kinds, right? One is quantitative and the other is qualitative. I don't think we should do or derive quantitative insights from talking to, let's say, 10, 20, 50 users, right? In this day and age where we have like a lot of data, it's not useful. And even the way you ask questions, your quality of user research also is gravely impacted. I'll probably give like one example, even at Blinkit, right? When we were thinking about the conversion funnel, there was a way to ask you, why didn't you purchase? right? Versus to actually go look at the data and say, hey, I saw that you searched for tea, spent 15 minutes looking for in search and in the category and all that, but you didn't buy. Why? And then you would get interesting answers, right? So I think that I know there were a lot of constraints over here, but maybe like speaking to existing users probably would have helped there.
Yeah, awesome. I think what's more disappointing is that having access to the entire team and then not being able to
I
do the
remember
research.
even I commented on their post or something where, right? So we were all accessible. So you should have reached out to us. मतलब I think काफी bashing हो रही है. मेरे को थोड़ा protect करना पड़ेगा team को. But
I think you guys have to go back to the desk again and work. Maybe start again. But all right, I think with that, let's move on to the last team, Team Blinkit. Do we have you here? Let's go.
Perfect. Before I start and before the timer starts, I'll speak about just one word, that is communication. Communication is a two-way street. I know there's been 2 presentations already, right? So there might be like lack of attention for the people. So just trying to bring the attention back. I'll appreciate if everybody can pull down any reaction they want to put over. So I can understand how many people are actually active. Like quick on that. A reaction that works on Zoom. So yeah.
Awesome.
I know that's risky also because now everybody would be listening to me carefully.
Awesome. I think you have enough people. Awesome.
Perfect. So just give me a heads up if my screen is visible. Perfect. Lovely then. So we are Team Blinkit. We are a member of 6 people. My name is Shubham Sharma. We had Gyanendra. Gyanendra has served in the Indian Air Force for 20 years. We have Tarun, who has recently graduated from IIT Bhubaneswar. We have Pratik, who's working as a software engineer in Ireland. We have Tushar, who is a quality analyst, and we have Amsi, who was our designer. So you can understand quite a bit of diversity in the team. None of us are PMs, but yes, we had one thing in common. That was common sense, right? Just give me one sec. Lovely. So let's start. So I hope everybody remembers this meme. This was the place where everybody got to know about Blinkit. So doodh mangoge, doodh denge. Zomato came up with kheer mangoge, kheer denge. And Unlearn has came up with a particular solution that is PM mangoge to top 1% zarur denge. So yeah, we had the solution, like the problem over here, to devise a product strategy to increase order frequency by 30%. So this is the final part of it. I'll come back to it. I want to make to everybody understand like how do we reach over there, basic jargons and basic details that we need to understand. So quick commerce is something that has been populated after COVID, I would say, right? Because we have lack of patience, we are lazy, and we need convenience, right? So these are the certain factor of human psychology that has actually played a huge amount of game over here. Hyper delivery has actually taken into a market where people want something. Nobody wants friction. Nobody wants friction in their particular experience. Everybody wants a dopamine high of like ordering something and receiving it as quickly as possible. We remember Domino's sending pizzas in 30 minutes, right? Hyper delivery is actually planning to do that in 10-15 minutes, right? Our plan, how do we start? How do we do it? Like, we'll come to this. So how did Blinkit start? It was formerly known as Grofers. 2013, it started in December, Gurgaon. And Zomato actually acquired it, right? So this happened on 10th of August, 2022. Basic numbers over here. So let's Blinkit. Perfect. What's that actually Blinkit does? Like Blinkit is a shop to go. So Blinkit is a kind of a store that everything is available, right? From electronic items, baby care, you name the stuff that is available on Blinkit. We have to understand how does the ordering actually happens, right? So let's consider you are a user, you went on your application, you ordered something that's 0 minute. The order directly goes to the dark store, right? The dark store employees rush towards it. They have 1 to 10 minutes over here at the particular position to actually get the stuff, pack it, bill it, and the delivery person comes in. So basically, we have to understand Blinkit has a model where 2 to 3 kilometers of dark stores are available to every customer that they cater, right? So the delivery is not rushed, right, by actually taking a risk on the delivery rider. So we are actually focusing on being more operational over here. What on earth is a dark store? So dark store is basically a warehouse, a fancy name to it. Now we have to understand the stakeholders that who actually are closely working with Blinkit. We have the seller who brings the stuff in, right, who sells it. We have the buyer, right, who buys it, and we have the rider who delivers it. Pretty simple. Now let's understand the problem over here a bit. So the problem state, I would try to break it down. So we want a product strategy, right? We want to have order frequency that has to be increased by 30%. What is order frequency? Order frequency is like total number of orders that is divided by total number of unique customers. Why unique? A simple customer, again and again, a loyal customer is a number, but we want to see how many unique customers are actually doing it. So that helps us to understand how good are we growing with metric of like the increase of orders. Too much of GAN has already shattered. Let's move ahead. So there's the assumption that we have taken. Our assumption is very simple. So let's consider there is 1,500 orders that are like ordered like in a particular day, right? 30% means 450. We have to increase 450 orders. So what takes that we can actually take over here? So as research, so we have to understand Blinkit has a humongous amount of people using it, right? So research is something that did give us a good insight, I would say, right? It's actually killing your own bias when you actually speak to users. And this was a good eye opener. Certain things we actually wanted to understand how was the behavior change happening. So we did ask people like, why would you actually not go to a store, right? Like, why would you actually go to a store, not order online, right? So people said like they wanted to confirm the quality of it, they want to check the quality of it, they want to have an understanding of product, right? So that was certain like kind of a thing that people said. Do they feel secure by paying online? So you remember there was Flipkart at a time that started with cash on delivery. People were skeptic, Indian market was skeptic to pay online. So that was one particular thing that is actually taken out of the scene right now. What do you like the most about Blinkit application? People said delivery time, ease of use, followed by interface of application. Where did you get to know about Blinkit? This was a very major question because this will follow up in the further slides. People said word of mouth and social, followed by social media. So like people tend to speak about Blinkit a lot. What are the alternatives? We have Zepto in market, we have Swiggy in market. There was a question again, like usually now 10 minutes delivery, people like market is actually declining on that factor, right? But 75% people still said that matters to them. This was a great insight that we had. Female users do feel better on ordering online. That actually removes the interaction with the local shop and the judgment they actually bypass. So we know the Indian society, too much judgment for everything. Secondary research, the team did a very great job on this. So this is on customer service, right? Sadly, Blinkit has 90% of disappointed customers from their customer service, followed by Dunzo, Swiggy, and Zepto. Then we have an understanding that the customer part, the delivery conductor, right? So the delivery guy misbehaving or some kind of issue. Blinkit is again in 72%, followed like topping by Swiggy. We have to understand what actually matters to people. So like 7 out of 10 people said they were disappointed by the customer service. Five people said like they were not happy with the availability of the product in their particular locality. 4 out of 10 people said they were disappointed by the refunds. And refund is something that is a crucial market, but because we know the Indian customers also, they are also smart enough. So we can actually bypass this. 3 out of 10 users say they're disappointed by the delivery partner conduct. So this is something that we have to focus on. Customer acquisition, right? So 2.8 people do not worry about like safety protocols. So if he's wearing a mask or not, much of the focus was like 7.3% people of like actually focus on the delivery time over here. Perfect. So we have a computational analysis over there. Blinkit, Big Basket, Zepto, 1 billion, 1.5 billion, 361 million. Why Zepto? Because it's new in market and like it is actually growing. Cities, 30, 40, and 11. Products, 7,000, 18,000 and plus, and 5K. And revenue, 2616, 7098, 142. Basic numbers. Perfect. So this gives us a basic idea like what is happening in the website and the product side. So 30% is the bounce rate for Blinkit, 64% is the bounce rate for Big Basket, and 58% is the. So these are the numbers that we have to keep in mind because this would help us in the particular future slides. Now I'll come down to how do we actually do the solution that we had, right? What I learned in Unlearn was asking the right question, right? And not jumping to conclusion is something that we have to focus on. Usually we see a problem and that is how the Indian education system is. We are asked to jump into problems, right? So somebody says 2 + 2, we'll directly hit on 4, but nobody actually tells what was in the back end of it, right? So we actually consumed the problem for a bit of a while. Our direction was like directional less initially. Ayush as our mentor, Sid as a mentor, Rohan as a mentor helped us to get that direction. And then we identified some problems. So this is not specifically problems. I would say there are certain missed opportunities on the comparison that we have done with the market also. There are certain problems that we have identified and opportunities. That is application downtime, bundling with Zomato, subscription model, and night orders. Let's go forward with it. So what is application downtime? You would have seen, like when you open Blinkit, there are certain times when it says temporary not available, right? So that is basically for specific reason. Delivery riders are not available. Let's consider at your location, there's a peak hour going around and the folks are not available to deliver. Internal issue by the team. So maybe like the team has an internal issue within the dark store. Weather condition, we cannot control that. And staffing is something that might be a particular case for it. So, second. So downtime can actually lead to unhappy customer. So we have to understand this point very specifically. Let's not focus on the slide, but to understand customer experience, right? What is actually Blinkit solving? Blinkit is solving an experience where the customer doesn't want to go to the store and wants a delivery at their particular location. Once I'm hooked to them, right? You not being available at that moment, right, is a kind of a downer for me. But am I, as an Indian customer, won't I look for solution, right? I'll like 101% look for solution. I look for an application that can do the same job, right? So just to make sure that the downtime actually doesn't kill the current user base that I have, right? We would be actually focusing on certain solutions that can help around us, right? So basically focusing on how can we bypass application downtime, right? So as we know in the acquisition document also, Zomato mentioned that they want to look forward as a super application, right? Super application means like taking help of each other. Zomato could have started the same business, but they acquired Blinkit, right? There have been a reason for it, right? Because that's a market that was already captured. What we are trying to do with this particular solution is the same thing, right? We are trying to actually take the help of Zomato users or Zomato riders over here. How are we doing it? We are using a very simple algorithm over here. Let's consider there's a peak hour going. I'm considering peak hours in the morning slots and the evening slot. 7 to 11 or 8 to 11 in the evening. I understand there are Zomato orders also at that particular moment. Now, as delivery partners, what is the first thing that I see? I see how much is the money that I'm earning in the end of the day. I'm a gig rider, right? I have to run down gigs to earn every penny that I'm earning. Let's consider there's a temporary unavailable store at 8 o'clock, right? You want to order something, right? You are a loyal Blinkit user, right? You order something. What we are figuring out over here is there's a Zomato rider which is closest to you, right? And has not had much of earning, right? So that's the hypothesis that we have, and that's the algorithm that we would be following up. So what would that person get? Like the user will get a delivery partner, and the delivery partner will get the money out of it, right? So we understand this can create a behavior where dependency actually comes in, right? We are not making people dependent, the riders dependent. You can only we'll have a constraint of 5 rides from Blinkit. So that's the maximum that Blinkit can offer to the Zomato in the initial part while we are actually testing if it is a success or not. Second part is like one of like people's favorite that we did in the previous poll. That was scheduled delivery. Let's consider the store is not available at this moment, right? So I'm having my dinner. I want to have ice cream. I'm sitting with my family, right? While I'm sitting with my family, I still have 30 to 40 minutes. Like there is no rush that I require for that ice cream, right? And I see that the store is temporarily available and Blinkit only has that product, right? And I can wait because I am in the end of the day buying an experience where I can actually so because see, Indians have one more quality, right? They can adapt to it, right? If there is a service provided to it, I'm okay to wait, right? So what we are trying to do with scheduled delivery is a very simple thing, right? We are making the user, right, to actually like check on the another slot, right? Maybe we'll have slot system. So you're not available at 8 o'clock, right? We'll take a very simple example. 8 o'clock, I had 100, right? If I don't have scheduled delivery option, what I'm losing? I'm losing all 100 orders right now, right? If you see the impact, that's a big impact for money, right? That's a big impact for my customer experience also. 8 o'clock, I have a service known as scheduled delivery. I'm assuming, right, a blind number over here, at least 30% of these orders, right, are not those orders which I need instantly, right? So I'm trying to do a retention model for those customers who are okay that I'm telling those folks, right, that I would be delivering within the next particular time slot. What I need for implementing this is the estimated delivery time. This would be a very focused metric for us because you are choosing a time, and if I'm not able to deliver in that time, that will create friction, right? Real-time order tracking is another thing that we would be focusing on because that creation of like a adaptability creation will require us to provide data to the user that, okay, we are processing your order fine, we got a rider for you guys, and we are going forward with actually delivering the order now. So yeah, this is something that we are focusing on. As I said, like when the downtime happens, like the Indian customer moves to an alternative application, we are trying to solve that particular position, right? So you do not go to the another like an alternative application, and we can actually solve this particular problem. This is one of our favorite. We were laughing about it. Blinkit has started it, but we have a different version of it, right? Bundling with Zomato. So there are days, right, when I am a great fan of biryani, and not veg biryani, I have to be very promising, right? Biryani as mutton or chicken. So biryani is ordered, and my favorite drink to have with it is a Coke, right? But there's a friction that usually happens, and it has been happening in Dharamshala for me, because over here restaurants do not have like options of cold drink, and this is something that the users also told us while we had our particular interviews with them, right? So I wanted to have biryani. I ordered biryani from Zomato. I see there is no particular option, right, of getting cold drink, right? So Blinkit actually does that, but I have to go to Blinkit and order it over from there, right? So Tushar, can you share that link in the chat? There would be a link in the chat, guys. So what are we trying to figure out from here is we are bundling the orders with Zomato. So this would look something like this. I'll give you a closer interface. We would be sharing the same thing with you. So let's consider this is your payment screen. You have ordered biryani. I want to have some chips, right? I am a great fan of potato chips. I'll add some chips in my bucket, right? I go back, I have this option. And these are just those items, right, which we have got after research, understanding that the people call the delivery partners stating that, Bhaiya, aap ye le aoge kya, please raste se, right? So this is something that we wanted to actually solve the problem with. So this is how the interface would be looking like. Perfect. So moving to next, what would be the backend of the process? I'll just define it very simply. You order from the bundling option, right? The order is received in the Zomato end and the Blinkit end. Now, using the algorithm as the data stack is very strong for Blinkit, right? What we are trying to do, if there is a wait time of food over there, right, and the delivery is lesser, right? So the rider can go to the Blinkit store, pick up the order, go to the food particular order again, and come back. So this will be completely, this is kind of a hypothesis we have, but yes, it will require proper navigation for 100%. Customer who have Zomato Gold, right, can use this feature, and this can create more value with it, right? So like, as we know, this is a super application concept. That is the future of it, right? One application supporting the other. That's why acquisition happens, right? So we want that Zomato Gold can actually give this feature, and this would be actually worth it and create more advantage to it. Next is the subscription model, right? I hope everybody of you are in a stressful life, right? And most of you are living with your families. What is the one constant thing that happens in the morning? Your mom asks ki, yaar, chai bana do, like make some tea for me, right? And there is no milk, right? You forgot to bring down milk because the last evening your boss yelled at you and you forgot everything in your life, right? So what we want to do with subscription model is very simple, right? We actually want the user to be at the ease of having something which is futuristic. That is his ordering pattern that can be futuristic for him. Let's consider moving ahead. So you order milk, right? Milk is something which is consumed daily, right? You have bread, you have butter, you have egg that is consumed on a daily factor. So what we are trying to solve the problem, what are the pros of subscription model for the stakeholders? While stakeholders, I say those are Blinkit, like Concrete, the riders and the user. Regular payments and predictability of revenue is something that Blinkit will have it. You'll have an understanding, okay, I have this much of revenue for this specific day because the customer has already made a prepayment. Users won't have to feel the inconvenience of ordering the same item, right? So you have to understand this. You are at ease for your next morning, right? And mornings have to be beautiful, right? Because if your morning actually gets ruined, right? So like it's half of the day that you lose. And riders, right? Those are the sole partners for us. So let's consider riders are gig workers. Let's go in their brain, right? They have a particular problem, right? They have an anxiety of how many orders will I get in the day, right? Because that is completely dependent on the customer. But by following a subscription model, right, they will have an understanding how many orders, right, are there for the specific day itself, right? For the morning slot, or maybe like we can futuristically, we have thought this for the morning slot itself. So yeah. Country Delight is a success story for it. So Country Delight is following the subscription model in a huge way. They have grown to a 600 CR business, right? And they have actually shown a humongous growth. So this is something something where we have taken this missed opportunity and we think we can use a feature of a competitor anytime. I guess everybody will agree on this. If somebody has already have solved a problem, solving that problem again doesn't make any sense. You can solve it in a different way for sure. Top deliver items: milk, bread, ghee, butter, egg, curd, fruits, and vegetable. Yeah. Why this model? As I've told you, stressful life, right? Your family has a need, right? You are busy earning money, right? You would need an ease, because these are behavior change softwares, right? We have to understand these are the things that brings convenience. These are the things that actually helps us. So we have to focus on that. We have a very great particular feature over here. I hope you would have seen your fathers, uncles, right? Even your mothers, right? The first thing in the morning that happens, you would have seen a typical Indian dad, I would say, reading a newspaper, right? But have we actually tapped on that? Like, is there a subscription model? Yes, there is a local vendor who does this, right? So we actually want to focus on subscription model. As the question, if you remember, is increasing the frequency, right? So this is again an add-on of an item that we can add in the subscription model with maybe like milk, egg, or whatsoever is getting daily in your particular household. So regional market has 75 to 80% of capture of newspapers. So like there is a humongous like need of this, because people do read newspaper. If you think print media has won the game, it has not, right? We still have 45 CR of users who are actually reading newspaper, right? And that's a number that even I was shocked when I actually read. But we have to understand the age, like the age factor in India, which is currently running, right? We have a huge amount of people who are preparing for examination, right? So they will need current affair information, right? We have people who are in their old age and their basic time pass rather than using mobile phone is reading newspaper. So we have a good chunk of people who can actually adapt to this feature. Being an Indian, I always look into the brighter side of it, right? I hope you know Raddiwalas who come at your place, collect the garbage that you consider as garbage, and you get paid for it, right? So let's consider you have good amount of collected newspaper, right? We have a solution for it also. You can sell it to the Raddiwalas, and whatsoever was your spending for that newspaper can be recovered in certain way, depending on what kind of newspaper that you have subscribed for. Perfect. So the question is on you. You can click on the chat button and tell, would you like to actually order something from Blinkit, a newspaper from Blinkit? Night orders. I have a person in my team who has just graduated from IIT Bhubaneswar, right? And these are the folks, I guess, who have much more deeper connection with night orders. Tarun, can you hear me?
Yeah. So
Perfect.
yeah, so basically being a 2023 graduate, so I can tell that we students, like, we used to wake up till 4 a.m. in the morning doing assignments, playing sports as well. So yeah, we tend to order late at night frequently. Yeah. So these are some companies that like provide late night services: Zomato, Domino, 24/7, Swiggy. And yeah, these are some product categories like that are frequently brought in late night, like fast food, snacks, especially beverages, dessert, and convenience food. So yeah, moving forward, yeah, so segmentation, like how we will target the market. So basically, the age group that consists of college students, working professionals who have just started their career. Like they tend to come in the age range of 18 to 25. So yeah, they will definitely utilize our late night services. One thing is that now occupational wise, the individuals like who have night shifts in their job and who are working till late night, like these are like IT professionals or healthcare mostly. So like these people, and now the location wise, like the urban areas who have a higher population density as compared to other areas, as well as the areas who have a higher employment rate. Higher employment rate means like they will be able to afford these services. So yeah, now we have assumed that during late night services, that our delivery partners will definitely like charge more delivery fees as they are like delivering late night orders. First, second thing is that I guess we need to we need discounts and promotions strategy initially to like attract customers, to motivate them to use these late night services. Also, discounts is very important because the Indian market is actually price sensitive. We definitely first look at the price of the item that we are like ordering. So this thing is important. And thirdly is the staffing. Basically, we need adequate amount of staffing to handle late night orders. Yeah. So like now there are some points for successful implementation. One is the active dark stores. Like we need some dark stores that should be running to supply these items late at night. Second is the customer support. Like if something goes wrong with the item that we have delivered in the late night, so the customer support should be like quick to respond to user queries or user doubts over that. Third is the delivery time estimation. It is very much important because the user is already expecting us to deliver the item quickly, and if it stretches up a bit, so the user like might get frustrated because of that. Now let's come to the hypothesis part why the solution will work. As we have said before that 18 to 25 age range, that is also the second largest user base of Blinkit age-wise. So we can target this thing. And secondly, is that I will give a reference of Dunzo. So here Dunzo, like they have currently adopted this strategy in 2022. It's a grocery app basically, grocery and online shopping app. So what they have done is that their head of revenue have told that they have been like they have seen a consistent volume in like late night order services. So that is the, yeah. And yeah, one more thing here is that late night food delivery services such as Swiggy, Zomato, these companies, like they have witnessed a surge in orders on special occasions. Like during the new year, 31st December 2021, like they clocked around 2 million orders from the usual 1.3 to 1.4 million, as well as during FIFA World Cup 2014, Night Foodie and Mad Bites are there. Like these are the two local companies that are based out of Pune and Mumbai respectively. Like they've also seen a surge in orders during late night hours. So this trend indicates that like during the sporting tournaments, like the festive seasons, or some special occasions or parties that go until late night, users will definitely use this service. Now, also one thing here to note is that in 2022, like the COVID restrictions were eased, people went back to office, and this resulted in people using late night services more. So this is also one factor which led to the success of late night orders. Also, one more thing here is that the night food day, like it had an active user base of 72,000, and it had 26,000 users, 26,000 orders during 2014 to 2015, and it had seen a 20% increase in its late night orders. So yeah, so one more reference here I can give is the 24/7. Like, so let me give you a brief background about 24/7. Like it's basically a store chain that is running across 120 stores in 14 cities of India, and like it has witnessed consistent revenue growth in recent years. Like in 2022, like its revenue was 406 crore, and that was up from 190 crore in 2018. And two things that contributed to success of 24/7 was that basically like they were serving like fresh grocery products, fresh food, and so quality was never an issue for them. Secondly, the items that even they stored, like they were of premium brands. So like the products that are of premium brands, they generally tend to have a higher profit margin than the normal brands. And lastly, they had a discount strategy of happy hours, like in which they offered a 50% discount on many items from 2:30 a.m. to like 12 p.m. So they try to capitalize on late night sales, and like these factors like have contributed to the growth.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Tarun. Thanks a lot for that insight. So we have came to the end, right? And I would like to make you guys understand, and I guess you will also feel connected to it, right? Any application or anything that we spend money, right? There are certain things that we actually look forward for, right? The first thing is an experience. Like, what is the experience after me giving you that money that you are providing to me? What is the commitment? Like, commitment is a big word, right? You say me that you'll deliver in 20 minutes and you do not deliver in 20 minutes, right? Actually ruins the complete agenda of what you are actually promising to me. So if the experience gets ruined, the commitment gets ruined, right? The customer is spending trending for experience. There's a dopamine rush in our particular generation, or I would say Gen Z or the millennials, right? Dopamine is the key factor. It has been a key factor for the human civilization also, right? If dopamine has a friction, let's consider I'm trying to order, and the problems that we said that Blinkit is temporarily unavailable, is a kind of a friction to my experience, and that experience will not be fulfilled because the commitment can never come in the picture. So these are the three things that I think. Conclusion, how would we like to actually conclude is based on the features, right? So features are, what are features? Features are the convenience that we are trying to actually solve a problem with, right? And trying to understand every user, right? Like we had the stage team, right? We understood one thing, right? They had a particular segment of people who use that application. So understanding the exact segment which has the problem, right? And if that segmentation is huge enough to take that risk of a feature, right? Then only I think as a product manager, we can be successful, right? So a lot of experimentation is required. We understand in the startup culture, right? I have been working in sales for pretty long, right? And I have understanding cash burning, right? Is a problem that gets created after a frequent time, right? Let's consider you have $1 billion of evaluation, right? But if you're burning cash and you're not providing customer support, you're not helping the user to what you were actually promising, right? Will decrease and in the end of the day, shut the business, right? So Tushar, Rohan, I guess you would have the particular form if that can be put in, or Tushar has it.
I'll put it up.
Perfect, perfect. So we have a small poll, guys. So this poll is based on the solution that we guys have provided to you, right? We'll appreciate that if we can quickly fill it down.
All right, is it with this poll let's conclude. We'll share the results.
Yeah, open for questions.
Awesome. I think we are way ahead of time. So I'm really thankful for all the panelists to just stick around, because it's way ahead of the time we promised. But let's quickly get to the questions. I think Udit, let's start with you.
Really good presentation, guys. I think you've done a good amount of research, and I was really glad to see that you didn't recommend moving to a free delivery to increase frequency. Usually that is where people start with when you talk about frequency. Yeah, I mean, you guys covered almost all the use cases very well. On the scheduling part, I think when you're looking at increasing frequency, there is a good way you can increase frequency, and there is a bad way you can increase frequency. Free DC is in the bad zone, and I think for the use cases where you mentioned scheduled delivery, right? The products like milk, butter, paneer, these products are usually very low margin products, and which is why a subscription model for these products for an app like Blinkit is largely unsustainable. And it also kind of goes away from our key objective that people should be largely unplanned, and that's the area we kind of operate in. So I think a little bit more work there would have led you to discarding that use case. But yeah, overall I am really impressed.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Richa, I think you have some insights as well, being with Blinkit.
Yeah, sure. So one thing is, whenever we talked about like increasing order frequency, from a business point of view, always sort of there was always a tussle between average order value versus order frequency, right? What is that right kind of balance that is good enough, right? Because as Udit said, there are certain items that are bought very frequently, like milk, curd, and all of those things, which attract you to the platform, but that's not where we make money. Secondly, when we think about scheduled delivery, right, there is a key difference in the quick commerce way of working. Like there is no loyalty in cab business as well as like Blinkit, right? And there's no point in establishing loyalty. Your need surpasses everything. If you need something late at night after you're done with the dinner, if you want a cup of an ice cream, you want it right then, right? You're not going to wait for a couple of hours to sort of then sort of say, hey, yeah, let me just think about 2 hours ahead. And that's where actually we saw the shift from Amazon to Blinkit as well, right? There's like when we started selling fans in or heaters in Delhi in the month of in December. It's like, hey, I'm feeling cold right now. Should I just like wait, like go research on Amazon, figure out which heater to buy, which heater to not buy, versus just like, yeah, there's like 1,000 rupee heater and I'll just like at the click of a button, get it right now and I'll feel warm in like 10 minutes, right? So that's the USP. And the other side of things is that even when we think about subscription and scheduled delivery and all that, customer need is one thing. The other thing is what goes behind, right? How do you manage all the store operations? How do you manage the deliveries and all that? And all of that is an operational nightmare. Yeah, I think like, but otherwise the kind of problems that you came across were really good. I felt maybe some bit, I was expecting a bit more things to come out on the research, like why do people buy from Blinkit? Like what are those needs, right? Why do I choose an instant commerce thing over big basket? Right? Like there is a reason why people sort of switch for it because one, I don't need to plan for my day. Like if I'm really bad in planning for groceries and stuff like that. So I think a little bit more insights on that would have helped, or the price is more, or maybe, you know, I'm ready to pay that price for the quick delivery, like, you know, stuff like that. But yeah.
So I'll just add a point, like we spoke to users about that. Understand one thing, right? If a dark store is not available at your locality and it will take time 18 to 19 minutes, right? I'll move to a different application for sure, right? So we have to understand that this is again operational. The second part, like as you pointed out, subscription model, the whole agenda over here is to understand where I can save a user, right? Maybe having that option. I do understand like that's not quick commerce, right? But I'm not saying I would be delivering in the day end or I would be delivering within like 5 or 6 hours. I'm taking a time slot of 1 hour, right? That's the maximum time slot I'm taking. And that 1 hour slot is good enough. You remember the Zomato rider pulling in, right? We can use because becoming a super application is again helping each other. That's the way of acquisition it works around. So that was the thought process that we had in the back end of it. I surely understand there's operational issues that we have, right? But in the end of the day, customer is the king. We have to make customer happy, right? And he has to stay loyal with us. Only he'll stay loyal with us if we actually give him the services. As I said, experience and no friction in the dopamine, right? So we have to come up with features so we can actually hold to our users. That was the clear agenda that I had in my mind.
Yeah, no, I think you're a great salesperson, Shubham. It's visible. And yeah, but I think the ideas that you all had thought of were really great. And I think a lot of these ideas we've already tried as experiments at some point or the other, at least back when I was there, like the late night delivery and all of that. I think somewhere we had to sort of make the balance between, do we even serve these customers or do we just let it go? Are they bringing us more money or are they are we losing money by serving this small cohort of people? And some of the dark stores were actually alive 24/7. I don't know about now. Udit can comment, but yeah, and which were actually profitable. But let's say a store in Hebbal will never, in Bangalore, if you guys know, will never be profitable 24/7. But yeah.
Awesome. I think great insights. Quickly, I'll turn to Vinay. Vinay, your insights.
Yeah, really loved this one. Yeah, you know, I think this was a very high quality presentation. To be honest, you know, the clarity of thought, the clarity of presentation, the solutions that they've been thought. You know, of course, Udit and Richa with their background will have more context on which are relevant and which are not. But from an outsider's perspective, they actually look very relevant and very useful. I love the Zomato integration idea. Again, feasibility is a questionable parameter here, and then there are too many things involved in making that happen. But it's a brilliant idea if it can be made happen. If it can happen, night deliveries. My personal bias, I think they're brilliant idea. I recently used Jepto for night deliveries, and I was blown away. रात में 2 बजे I ordered a mosquito bat basically, and it was such a aha moment in that moment. Basically, I was like, wow, this is brilliant. right? So and at least from a very user perspective, quick commerce would make so much more sense in the night than in the day, right? Like that is when you need the product immediately, and it would make so much more sense, right? I don't know. So again, very brilliant idea. I like the newspaper thing also. It's a very, again, I don't know, again, paisa banega nahi banega is very uh I don't know the economics behind it, how feasible it is and all. But the idea is brilliant. Like it's a very nice SKU to add, which is a daily use case. The user, even if you ask me, I would have tried it even if you lose some money on it, because this will make sure that I'm remembered every day by you, basically. And there's a reason for you to come back to me every day. And newspaper may lead to you ordering something else in the app, etc. So, and there's an existing infrastructure for it. So it's not like you will have to add too much logistics for it. So brilliant ideas, I think, very well thought through. As a team who will have limited access to what goes behind, etc. I think very nicely thought through. You are a winner in my very highly opinionated and biased understand. You are a winner of today's cohort for sure. Very brilliantly done. Like Richa said, Subham, you have some really good sales qualities. So you should, and they'll be very useful as a PM. So you should keep building on that.
Amazing. I think, okay, so we might have a hint on that, who is the winner, but I think let's go to Mike. We still have to make that evaluation. Okay.
So I'll be really quick. I don't think I can add any value in terms of compared to what other than Rich have already said. And I think I'm just going to give maybe a very tactical piece of advice, because I would imagine a lot of the people on this call will end up interviewing and doing these kind of things during their interview process. I would suggest that assume that when you are interviewing, particularly on a case study about a company, the more boring you are, or the more kind of predictable you are, the more it will be easy to tear you apart, right? I think as we saw with the stage presentation, I think it was, it was thorough, it was done the research, but obviously Vinay is just going to be like, yo, guys, use the product, right? And that's always going to be hard, okay? Because the person interviewing you will always have way more data, way more access than anything else. I think if you go think a little bit outside the box, do things which I guess in Blinkit's case, they have experimented with in the past, but let's say for a company like Even or maybe earlier stage, where we just don't have, 6-7 years worth of experiments, it's also a more interesting experience. Right? If someone comes up with something that you haven't thought of before, you're more likely to enjoy the interview experience. You're probably more likely to cut them a little bit slack. And most importantly, because you haven't thought of it, you don't have an information advantage. So you can't be mean, right? If you're telling me about something that I already know about and I know the numbers, I'm going to make it, if I would like to, very unpleasant for you. I can push you, I can make it very uncomfortable. I think starting from a position where both of us are thinking about a new problem fresh, I think can be a really, really interesting way to just understand how you think. And then the person on the other side of it will still try and get you back to what they know and so on. But I think that is just a tactical piece of advice. Do not do the foundational research, but don't be afraid to do something that you think is a little bit risky, because especially in an interview process, you just want to stand out, right? There's going to be 10 people. You want to be the one that really cuts through. That's just a tactical piece of advice.
Amazing. I think it's 3 p.m. already. I think if we can take 2 minutes with the panelists, we'll just make a decision and then come back to you guys. I'm creating a breakout room for the panelists. Let's just join in. And we'll just come back in 2 minutes because it's been already an hour. I think that's okay. I'll also have to go there. Shit, I forgot that.
Even if you want, you can make me.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the silence. Think
Yeah.
about what was done.
How's the energy now, guys? No,
I think
nothing.
they want to sleep. They haven't got sleep since the last
That's constant.
2 days.
But then definitely lots of learnings. Like for me personally,
It's an honor for you folks to, I mean, for everyone here to interact with, founders directly,
yeah,
giving
directly.
feedback
That's
on,
right.
yeah, it's
Blunt
like,
feedback.
yeah, getting feedback on your life, because for them the product is, they're living the life, and
That's
we
right.
just got a hint of it and tried to
That's
solve a
right.
problem.
The other thing
It's
to add
like the
is,
counselor will always get feedback when you're giving therapy.
the other thing to add is to undergo the process, which is important. It's just the first time which you're doing it, or somebody might have done it more than once. It is the process, right? The founders might have gone through day in, day out, right? They have experimented with a lot of ideas, right? What we have thought, they've already thought through, right? Because it is their bread and butter, right? So in my experience, the experience of going through this journey is more important. Taking feedbacks, right? And then working on it. Say this is your first presentation, right? Go back and do a lot of tear downs, right? That's going to help you up and down, right? Or maybe read about a product the morning you get up, right? 5 minutes, 15 minutes, right? Just make it a routine, right? And maybe I believe within a quarter, you will be able to come up with a lot of different ideas and insights, right? And as you said, as Vinay was saying, right, our research was narrow or shallow, right? That would go away. That would literally go away, right? And
It takes time.
yeah, it will take time. It will take time. It's not that so easy, because I have been experiencing that quite for some time. It's not easy at all, right? And meeting expectation of people, it's difficult, very, very difficult, right? And as Mayank also said, right, that's just a pro interview tip, right? But that also sometimes doesn't help. It's both the ways, right? You go with something which they know and they can question better, they can judge you better. The other ways, if they do not know, they cannot question you, they cannot judge you better, right? It both the way. It is up to the interview when you're going and they judge you, right? It's not a
And it
one-way
will happen
street.
even after you become a PM. Even after you
Exactly.
become a PM, it will always happen. You've put in nights of efforts. You go with a presentation. They say, okay, I know what next.
So I could just give you an example. It happened last week with me. We went ahead, we presented something. It was to the customer, basically, not to anybody, right? We were trying to do an MVP and we wanted to present it to the customer, right? And he outright pointed out in 5 minutes, guys, we're missing something. Then we said, okay, let's stop it. And then we dropped that meeting there and we said, let's go back and come back within a day or two.
part of being a PM. Nothing to worry about. The fact that
Yeah,
you've
it's
experienced
just
it makes you stronger.
it's just the
Yeah,
experience, right?
we enjoyed the process thoroughly. Like just like we together working as a team, researching a lot, knowing about the stage app, knowing where the people are like, especially the experience of interviewing users for stage. It was thoroughly overwhelming. Like very simple users and very simple people. They do not know more in life. They are very rooted in their culture. So it was a different experience and the process whole together. We definitely take good feedbacks and we enjoy the bashing as well. We deserved it if I'm being honest here. So yeah, definitely we will improve a lot, as you said, in the coming time.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. The last decision, we'll have Richa, who's going to announce the winner. So, winner and second runner-up.
Sure.
Richa, over to you.
Thanks, Rohan. So I think the first one that all of us sort of liked, I think when I had already sort of made like a brief thing in the last presentation. So the first one is Blinkit. So congratulations, team. Great work. Yeah,
Great
the
work.
second position is for Team Even. Again, great work, guys. Had a good clarity of thought, problem understanding. Maybe solutions could have been a bit better, but again, for Team Even, Mayank and I would be happy to sort of help even in the future. So even though this is over, please feel free to reach out to us if you want to. And I've just taken that call on behalf of Mayank as well.
No, I'm genuinely right. Happy to help in just whatever way. I'm like, what do you do? No,
Cool. All right. So again, team stage, guys. I think one of the key advantages that we were discussing earlier that Blinkit had was they were also the users of the product, and it was sort of difficult for, let's say, as some kind of a disadvantage for, how do you relate to the users for team stage or for Even, and that sort of tells you how important it is to actually put yourself in users' shoes. That phrase. So I think future, please feel free to reach out to the actual teams as well. They'd be happy to help. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Any last words, Vinay and Udit?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just complete. Congratulations to Blinkit team, and then of course Event team also did a good job. Stage team, don't be disheartened. Also, I'll say you were served with a tough terrain, of a certain kind of users. So don't worry, and do reach out. Like Richard said, we'll be more than happy to spend more time with you guys. Discuss more in detail, and happy to understand more of your ideas deeper, and so on and so forth. So don't be disheartened. It's absolutely all right. You are on the right path, and I think you take the feedback and you get better every day. So good luck.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just say very quickly, I think a big shout out to Rohan as well for organizing the whole thing. I think, the quality of thinking overall was excellent. And I think everyone today, there were difficulties, there were successes. Everyone worked really, really hard. It was a very well organized event. And I think Rohan is a very good example of just continuing to reach out. I got a message from him in my inbox a few days ago. He's like, dude, you got to come. I'm like, I think I'm busy Sunday. He's like, no, you got to come. And I would say just be relentless the way maybe Rohan has been. And I think all of you all were as well. But overall, massive congratulations. Congrats. It was great to listen in.
A small shout out to Team Even. I mean, when I was in my applying journey, I had applied to maybe 500 posts, and I got a detailed feedback on my profile as to why the position isn't open at the moment from Team Even. And I mean, since the founders are here and one of the key product people are here, I thought I'll just give a shout out. And having you on the demo day, I didn't think I would get to interact and get direct feedback.
No, it was great. I'll pass it on to Ashish, although I normally give it shit. But yeah, okay, I'll tell him nice things about him for once.
Awesome. Udit.
All right.
Good stuff, man, on organizing this. Lovely to meet everyone. Rohan, Vinay, Richa, Mayank, and everyone in the team. Let's keep at it and let's not drop thinking about these problems and products. Maybe apply these learnings elsewhere as well. See you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think my video is lagging, but thank you so much everyone for joining in. It's already, I think you surpassed 1 hour slot. I'm really, really thankful for that. But I hope every one of you who has joined in, it was worth your time. There's a lot of feedbacks. I mean, there's not going to be perfect people right now, but I am pretty sure they'll improve. And in 3 months of time, there'll be something else. So for sure, let's hope for that. And have a good day. Have a great day.
Thanks,
have
everyone.
a great Sunday.
See you.
And
Thank you
have
all.
a kicking Monday. Have a
Bye.
good day. Bye-bye.